You are listening to a Dynamicworksproductions podcast. This show is available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio Network, and many, many more podcast services around the world. You can find all our content, music, videos, books, podcasts, and more on our website, www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Have questions, comments, or concerns for us? Head on over to the social tab on www.dynamicworksproductions.com if you'd like to talk to us. Now, on with the show. Supposed to say it with me.
I was trying to. You usually don't start at 5.
I don't?
No, we usually and 3, 2.
Oh.
So you messed with me. So I was waiting for you to get to 3.
It's been a week.
And now you're very quiet.
I'm very quiet?
Yep.
More than usual?
Yeah. Like as soon as you said
but
cut
we
in.
just did a test.
Now, okay, now you're good. I don't know. Was this? Do you have an auto gain thing going here?
Well, since it was muted when we started, maybe I need to check this fucking setting. Automatically adjust microphone settings off.
Okay.
Noise cancellation off.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you're fine now. It just literally right after the cut in, you dropped
down. Okay. Well, you know. So it goes.
So for anyone, and I don't know if you caught that I did this.
Is this the intro? I don't even know.
Yes. If anyone caught it at the end of the last cast 2 weeks ago, and Tim probably didn't get it, but anyone that is a fan of Rocky Horror Picture Show will understand when I say patient.
I've never seen,
which is why you wouldn't understand. Anyone, if any one of our listeners catches that and remembers our last show, they're going to go, "Son of a bitch, he did it."
Okay, well, good for them. Good for them. I guess it's the start. We're stumbling into this fucking show.
First.
This is a podcast. I am a person with a microphone.
He is your host, author, podcaster.
My host.
Yes. Sometime streamer, Tim K.A. Trotter.
On my right, which might be. See, I'm trying to look at your eye line here. Am I on your left or am I on your right?
You are on my right. But it doesn't matter because my camera's on my right, so my eye line's always. You could be left on my screen; it wouldn't matter.
Okay, well, you know, there we go.
I tried playing with the fancy NVIDIA eyeball thing, and it still doesn't work.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Skype says no, that's not a valid camera. I'm going to freeze the program. I had to uninstall NVIDIA Broadcast in order to actually get Skype working today.
I mean, don't get me started on fucking Windows problems right now. So, actually, fuck, I'll get into it. Why not?
Are you going to introduce me or not? Yeah, I know you're trying to get there, and I'm just derailing the crap out of you.
It's Nate.
Yeah, it's still me. The Westiest of the Coastiest.
The furthest northeast of the Westiest.
And still in the United Statesiest.
Oh, God. This intro is fucking terrible. I'm going to listen to this in post, and I'm going to just be like, Wow. And you weren't drinking, huh, Tim? Okay. Shit.
and I haven't even been
Maybe.
either. Maybe that's the problem.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe this is the problem. This is the problem. I'm drinking fucking.
All right. Well, let me
water over
begin.
here.
Let's get this back on track.
Okay. Fair enough. So I've fucking had it with Windows and streaming.
Okay.
I've fucking given up. So after my third, count 'em, third complete wiping both the M2 drives, fucking fresh restore Windows 11, reinstalling everything again, slowly, painfully, methodically. This time, I did in fact get the PC working, the GPU fans spinning. Everything appears to be running the way a PC should, minus whatever in the actual fuck is causing the audio lag.
Oh, right.
I spent 2.5 hours on it, and I went, you know what? Just know you are just a gaming PC. I'm not ever going to use you ever again for streaming, because I have embraced the OBS-ness on my M1 Mac, which is fully compliant with full Apple hardware encoder support. And true, because I have a base model. Oh, shit. So Nate's seeing me freak out at something that just moved, and it's the hub that the microphone and the camera are plugged into, and it's just kind of hanging.
Oh, it's hanging off the back of the desk? Okay.
It's hanging off the back of... All right, I'm going to attempt to move this. If we lose everything, I apologize.
Just a tiny... You're still here? Nope, he hasn't frozen yet. The look... you ever watch a 2-year-old play Operation?
There we go.
That's kind of what that face was, of a toddler playing Operation.
Anyways. Yeah, so for the last week and a half, I have been streaming using OBS, which seems to me, unless I'm crazy, has a far smoother interface than I was accustomed to the last time I tried OBS, which was over 2 years ago.
On Mac?
Well, I tried setting it up on Windows today too. And it didn't matter. Streamlabs or regular OBS still had that fucking goddamn half second delay. But yeah, no, the OBS seems like the interface on it has been cleaned up mightily since the last whenever I attempted.
I'll have to take your word on. I've never seen OBS on a Mac.
Well, I was saying I used it on Windows today.
Oh, even the Windows version.
It's the same interface.
Gotcha.
I would say the only thing that didn't work correctly on both OBSs on Windows and Mac was, for whatever reason, you can't copy text into your title of the Twitch text thing.
Oh, okay. And that's
like when you're putting your thing in.
But it's a doc from Twitch, not... It's basically... Yeah, it's packaging or wrapping a Twitch browser window.
Yes, and I understand that. But it's still odd that you can't copy text to it, which is weird. But so it goes. But, so like I said, I've given up on Windows streaming.
Windows is a streaming device, yes.
It's so frustrating, because if it's not the streaming thing, it's something else going wrong with Windows. And it's like, I love to tinker and I love to figure out shit as much as the next guy, but it's like, I just want to stream and play my fucking game.
Yeah, 99% of all your games you have available on your consoles, I'm assuming.
Oh, except for anything I'm doing lately, which is all on Switch.
That's a console.
Oh, you
Yes.
mean like the actual playing of the game?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So, there's no compelling need for you to be on a PC. You're not playing some PC exclusive thing on stream.
No, and I did that already earlier this year with Sons of the Forest. So I did it, done it.
And what was the other one? The RPG, or was that console as well? The Elden Ring. I thought you were doing that on PC as well.
I did stream it through PC on Xbox.
Okay, but yeah, you were playing it on console.
But I was playing it on console, and then this last playthrough was through PlayStation. And then, as you may recall, in fall, Xbox got a serious boost in the arm from its internal capturing. So a lot of the issues that have been plaguing it for years got resolved. But anyways, the only thing I don't like is two things on the OBS M1 Mac. If that's that, if you're a listener and you're like, oh hey, I can stream with my Mac. If you've got an Intel Mac, you're fine. You've been fine for years. But if you have an M1, it is now about 6-8 versions into OBS that is all fully completely uses all of the Apple stuff,
right? Native code
all up and through. The only two things I would say, and I'm on version 1 Mac Mini, the one with 7 cores. I don't think it has 8 cores. It seems like if the weather is right, you can get 1080p 60. But you're better off just doing 720p variable 30 to 60.
Okay.
And it does pretty goddamn well.
I mean,
I would also say,
considering a lot of people that watch streams on Twitch do so via the mobile app, you're not,
Well, and then the other thing to consider too is I am at least right now, I'm streaming Switch games, which already are less resolution than the average bear.
Right.
So it's not a huge loss. But the problems I had when I tried last summer, I attempted to do Xenoblade 3 with it, and it worked, but it was fuzzy would be the correct term for it.
Sure, but as long as it's visible, I don't think I've ever left a stream because I've walked in, logged in and went, oh, you're streaming at 720, I'm out of here. Right? It's never been, even on a PC screen, a deal breaker for me. But I do notice when people are streaming at higher resolutions and frame rates.
Yeah.
But for the most part,
it's a catch-22 thing, because it's like you have to have the hardware for it. You have to have your internet gods must be blessing you.
Well, and see,
either that day.
That was about what I was going to say. Was I actually have more issues with, because again, I watch mostly mobile, so I'm on my cell service. All my friends that are like, yeah, I can have the capability of streaming at 1080 60, and it's like I try to log into my phone to watch them, and it's like spin, 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 and it's like, okay, all my friends that are streaming at 720 60 or 720 30, no problem.
So really, you have an issue on the app end?
Well, that's interesting, because you can't you have to have bitchin' almost my level of outbound internet.
Sure,
right?
But what I'm understanding from your communication is that you're saying you have trouble streaming 1080 60 to your phone.
No, receiving.
Yeah, receiving it. Yeah, and I'm curious as to why, because I never have problems like that.
It's probably, you probably have better cell service than I do. At least where you are.
I mean, it also could be because I'm an Apple boy,
right?
And we have dedicated video encoder decoders,
possibly. But yeah,
on our GPU.
Yeah, if as soon as I get home on Wi-Fi, obviously it's no problem. So there's enough bandwidth to pull it down. But when my cell bandwidth just isn't enough for some of these higher quality streams, and it's like, well, I guess I'm not watching you today, kind of thing.
Do you not have the option on the Twitch app to just change your frame rate or your resolution?
No, because you have to be an affiliate or a partner to have that option enabled.
On an Android phone.
On Twitch the app. If you are not a affiliate,
I've never had to do that. Never ever had to do that on.
It's auto only.
Wow, so Android basically just has a shit Twitch app.
Probably, but yeah, if they're affiliate or partner, I can then go in and select a lower bit rate.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And if you're an affiliate, it's sometimes you can do it if they have the server capability of to allow it. Then you can go in and change it.
So the reason I state this very clearly is because, and I've said this before on the show, we're not streaming video right now, but like I set my iPad mini up so that I can see my stream, what's the incoming is. And I'm usually using not my own, I'll use like a second account.
Right.
And I can 100% play with that.
Interesting.
Every single time.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. That's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird. Anyways.
So yeah, something to consider if you're streaming and you're wondering why people are logging in at weird, like certain times, but not others. It might be that your stream is too buku for their mobile plan.
I mean that it's true. It is a thing that occurs, but yeah, so it goes. Anyways, giving up on Windows streaming.
M1 OBS, huh?
M1 OBS, pretty rock solid. Oh, I'd say the second problem though is, but one day, no matter what I did, like clockwork, like every minute and a half, I'd get like 30 frame drops for like 30 seconds.
And then it was fine.
And then it'd be fine. But it was continuous.
Okay.
And I was like, what? So I don't know what that's a bug or something. And I don't know. I've been reading a lot more about, there seems to be conflicting evidence on setting your buffer size. Some people say, yeah, do a crazy buffer size, which is going to give you a long delay on the stream for like, the text chatting, but you're going to have very consistent quality. While other people are saying, no, you should keep your buffer to a lower end minimum, but still have a buffer to give whatever GPU you're using, time to catch up.
Right.
And I don't know whom to believe.
Well, again, it's the end user experience. If you can get away with having that buffer and you're not concerned about the chat lag, do it, because again, it's the longer buffer is going to give you a more consistent stream. Just that's the nature of the buffer.
Okay.
But if you're interacting, that is absolute lag is killer. It was one of the reasons back in the day that I was like, nope, I'm leaving this Twitch thing and going over to Mixer because of that, the FTL.
They had really good stuff there.
Right.
Absolute insanity that they sold that to Facebook.
Right. And then Facebook basically doesn't use any of the tech.
Yep. Is it even a thing still? I don't even know.
I don't know. They canceled their partner program from what I heard.
Classic.
Yep.
So it goes.
Gone on the way of Stadia.
Right, well,
yep.
Let's fucking spin a ring and see where the fuck the fates land for us. We have landed. We've landed on water.
Entertainment.
Topics.
Oh, perfect. This is going to be a healthy one.
Timely. All right, so full spoilers. Me and Nate are for sure going to be talking about the series finale of Picard.
Yeah.
So episode 10, season 3, Picard. If you're a Trekkie, if you're interested,
go
probably
watch it.
Like jump skip 30 minutes from now.
Or no, just hit pause. Go watch it. Come back. We'll be here.
Come back. Yeah, this is your warning.
This is the only warning you're getting, and we're probably going to at some point in time discuss Mandalorian, at least to some extent.
Yeah, I guess, sure, if you want to.
Well, let's here.
We're gonna spoil Mandalorian. We're gonna spoil Picard.
Yeah.
In 3, 2, 1, spoiler lifting. You were warned.
Yes.
As I drop the ring. So Picard, we already had a long Discord back and forth on our thoughts on it.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't happy with the Borg reveal, but having seen the whole thing,
right.
Okay.
Right. They attempted
It
a
worked
triple
very
axle off the
well.
pommel horse and somehow managed to land it.
Yes, I would say that they somehow managed to land it pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little bit shocked. Nobody died.
I was too, because there was plenty of opportunities for it and heartfelt goodbyes said along the way.
Yeah, so we had Ro, a lot of red shirts, and Captain, what's his name?
Pike, not Pike.
Yeah, not Pike. The dude, the guy, Captain Grumpy.
Yeah,
that's
Captain
what I'm
Grumpy.
calling him now. Captain Grumpy. Died for sure. Technically, we saw Admiral what's her name getting shot.
Yeah.
But then the screen blipped up, and I watched all behind the scenes thing, and she was on the couch with God, those dogs are really going off at it tonight.
With Will Wheaton.
Will Wheaton, yes, and she was like, well, we don't know what happened.
Right.
It's like, okay,
okay, and this is going to be the first hard spoiler. With them rechristening the Titan as the Enterprise G, I think that tells you what happened.
Does it though?
Would they keep the F and rechristen the G?
If the D is still floating around, and the Enterprise NX-1 is still floating around,
those are restored,
and the 1701 is still floating around,
yes,
then yes.
So they decommissioned an active. They would not fly an Enterprise F and G in active commission. That has never happened.
Yeah, well, they've never rechristened a non-Constitution or Galaxy class starship.
Yeah, which I was actually kind of pissed about that. I was like,
if you want to get all fucking Trekkie on me,
I didn't like that at all. Call me curmudgeon-y, but that is not a ship you put the Enterprise name on.
I felt by the end of the series,
I would have loved to seen that ship come up and like, oh, we had to save the surprise for you, and it be the USS Picard. I'd have been fine with that.
The USS Picard. Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
But I thought it was cool that Tuvok made her captain.
Mm-hmm.
And that she's got Raffi as her number one.
Which this makes zero sense to me. That's okay, it's a feel-good moment, but
it's because they banged.
Right? Nepotism at its finest.
I did think it was funny that she made Jack Crusher special counselor.
Right?
Special counsel to the captain. But how about that old after credits John Delancey popping back up?
Okay. Like,
oh, you weren't a fan?
No, I'm a fan of it, but when they haven't secured a deal for that spinoff, that pisses me off, right? You secure the deal and then you make that kind of a drop. That is some ballsy. And by the way, it's Captain Shaw, Liam Shaw.
Oh, thank you, Captain Liam.
Yeah, because it was going to drive me nuts calling him Captain Grumpy the rest of the time.
Captain Grumpy Liam Shaw.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, sure. It was a big tease, teasing the next spinoff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it had been theorized since season 2 or 1 of Picard. That's like, okay, 7 needs her own show now.
Mm-hmm.
And now we've got her and we've got Raffi, and clearly Jack Crusher, Picard, whatever the fuck he's going by, is lined up to have said show. I think the thing that threw Reddit people into a tizzy was, okay, so if you're saying these 3 people, hypothetically, getting their own spinoff, you're like, okay, what the fuck do you call the show? And
Well,
some people are like,
the
okay,
Enterprise, because they're on the Enterprise G.
well, you can't call it that because there's already a TV show called Star Trek.
Right. I know.
And you're not going to call it Star Trek Enterprise G because that just, nope.
Star
some
Trek,
people are like,
straight
oh,
G's.
Star Trek 7 Gs. Oh, God, terrible. Absolutely terrible.
We're crushing it.
Oh, man. Nope. There's just too much lore going on in what we're saying about all of these 7Gs and stuff. But no, Reddit was saying, oh, you call it Star Trek Legacy because it's about the legacy of Seven and stuff. And then other people are like, well, but it's like their own thing, so it needs to be called something different. And it's like, I don't know.
Right.
It's like, when you guys get a series order, you guys can figure that out. I didn't like that they gave us the cock tease of what Seven's like, engage, line would be.
Right. I was hoping for punch it.
Well, no, because that's what's his name? Pikes and also Abrams Kirk.
Yes.
I mean, I do think we can probably agree anything's better than Let's Fly.
Right.
But I don't know. We'll see. I'm down if that's the next spinoff or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
No, like I said, they stuck it. That post credits when it came up, I'm like, okay. And then as soon as I heard the voice, I'm just like, son of a no.
See, the fact
I know
that
you're
came back.
I know you're a John Delancey, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I know you're a John Delancey fan.
Yeah.
But they killed him.
Few tricky.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing.
It's the Q continuum. Yes, I get
He's
it.
a Q.
That's
and
weak.
If you go back to some Voyager stuff and some Enterprise episodes of Q, there are no rules.
I understand. that is weak writing in my opinion, but hey, he's a fan favorite.
He's a fan favorite for a reason, because he can fucking make you feel something in 30 seconds of a scene. That's why.
But speaking of Q, speaking of the end credits and season 3 as a whole, as a recap, kind of actually brought something to mind that I've seldom seen done right, and that was fan service. The fan service in season 3 has to be the best implementation I've ever seen of a show, giving you those little bits without being just corny about it.
One of the things that it reminded me of, aside from being respectful of the franchise, and you're not going to get this reference, but it reminded me a lot of anime that does fan service. And in the context of anime, people are talking about two things with fan service. Sometimes they're talking about anime boobies and girls and stuff, and like, oh, there's a lot of fan service in this thing. And other times there's just like, oh, people like this fan or want to see a dumb scene of two characters eating stupidly good drawn food for whatever reason, because that's how anime is. I'm like, oh, hey, yeah, no, this show does good fan service to the people who actually like the show, whatever. And it reminded me of that. It reminded me of that because it gave us, obviously, it gave us Data back. It gave us Worf, but it
gave us like legitimate reasons. This is something I've read in articles since then. It was like every character's introduction into season 3 had a purpose, had a time and a place for them to enter, that it wasn't just, oh, look, so-and-so, like Tuvok was kind of more, I don't know, was probably one of the weaker introductions of a past character.
Agreed. But yeah,
And
no,
if
man,
Tuvok was the worst one, I mean, that tells you how well they did with the rest of them.
yeah, that's true. I loved that. Obviously, it wasn't there physically, but Alice Krieg reprised her role as the Borg Queen,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was amazing because she's like 90 or something.
Right.
She's crazy up there. And her performance was still good, even though she had a body double in the final episode. And if you've seen the behind the scenes stuff, they actually talked about that. They're like, they got a body double that looked like her in the face, but like was like super like disheveled and frail and
Right.
stuff, so that they could do this like kind of necrotic Borg.
Right, but you could do it
That she had
practically,
become.
like a little, instead of just going full CG on it.
Mm-hmm.
So
The only thing that stood out to me as a person who loves, uh, I would say 95% of all Star Trek, um, from a story perspective, the Borg Queen focusing on Earth and like wanting to kill them and like fucking Picard and stuff, like it made sense, her whole grand plan with Jack Crusher, with the exception that like Picard was her only focus. Are we forgetting that the reason that she's hiding out in apparently Jupiter with only 30% Borg strength
mm-hmm.
is because of Janeway?
Right. And
And
that's another
Voyager?
thing I've been reading articles on. Apparently Janeway was in the works and it was just a budget cut.
Yeah, so in the behind the scenes stuff, like on their own show, the Ready Room stuff, Terry Matalas, the showrunner, executive producer, he also directed the last two episodes. He literally talked about how like he's like, yeah, he's like,
the Enterprise D almost didn't make it in.
D was held together by tape and it looked great. That's not real wood grain. They had to paint that by hand because we didn't have money for cedar.
Right.
He's like, we had spent our budget. um, so I would say that that's the one thing that felt it didn't have enough connective tissue to the prior treks would be Seven's stuff.
Sure.
Because the whole time they're like, oh my God, it's the Borg. What did we do? It's like, sure, let's not ask
the Borg.
Right.
On both of ship. The Borg. Yeah.
Like, fuck Christ.
Right.
So I guess from that perspective, it's a little bit like, okay, Ryder wants to take these characters here so that we can have our Enterprise D against a really Herculean sized Borg cube.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I did say out loud when me and my wife were watching it and they're like flying into the Borg cube was like, okay, they're doing a Star Wars.
Yep.
Okay, they're doing a Star Wars.
Yep. we're
oh, there's a core. There's a big old.
We're doing
room
a millennium. Someone actually on TikTok swapped out the music.
I'm sure. I mean, and then the other thing too that I said this in DMs with you on Discord was, okay, yes, it makes sense that Data flying the ship would be able to fucking handle that big old gal like nobody's business. But like in the history of Star Trek, one of the things that irks a lot of, which is so funny because for the most part, Trek science is more logical and realistic than other shows.
Mm-hmm.
But the ships behave like they're in they're submarines.
Right.
And in the last episode, like Data was handling the Enterprise D like it was a fucking Ferrari.
Right.
Doing fucking burnouts and
literally
whip tails and
he
shit.
Was pulling a Millennium Falcon with it.
Yeah.
And it was fun to watch, but yeah.
Yeah. Like, and then that's the other thing. It's like part of me is like, hardcore Trekkie me hates this.
Right.
Fan side of this is like, yeah.
Power slide, transport, power slide out.
Yeah. The powers, the fucking Fast and Furious power slide transport. What the fuck?
Right.
But yeah, and them ending it with poker and It was just really satisfying, you know.
That final scene. One thing irked me on that one was the fact that like Guinan wants to close. Where was Guinan?
She was away because she keeps saying controversial statements, and it's a Hollywood production.
Right. So why even put her name in there? Just say, hey, the barkeep wants to close.
Because. Yeah.
But yeah, tons of little Easter eggs, tons of little callbacks, returning characters. What was it? The Admiral.
Oh, the President.
The President, Anton Chekhov,
By
which was Walter.
Anton Chekhov.
Which was Walter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was Walter Koenig. Which was, as soon as I heard his voice, I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Right. And as soon as my father would say, and then he broke out in classic Chekhov dialect.
Well, and then did you catch the other thing too? The fact that he was named Anton.
Yes, I mentioned that to you.
In reference
to Anton Yelkin.
Yeah, Anton Yelchin.
Yelchin,
yeah. Yeah, Yelchin.
That was nice.
Rest in peace, crushed by his own Jeep.
Right.
Yeah, what a nice little
homage.
Nod.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that Koenig even did it like blew my mind.
Right.
You know, because like apart from really Leonard Nimoy doing Spock for one last 3-movie hurrah.
Right.
You know, right before he died, like, you know, none of those actors wanted to go back to Star Trek. Like ever. You know? Like they'd had their time in the sun, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So really cool. Really cool to hear his voice in that again.
Yeah, the Admiral Shelby, that was the one.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. That was, she presumably died off camera.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was also a nice callback, considering that her episode in TNG was the one where she took second in command under Captain Riker when Picard was Locutus.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, and she was the Borg expert, and yeah, the irony that she got taken out by the Borg is not lost on me.
Yeah, it's some pretty cool full circle stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, speaking to my wife who's only seen the Next Gen movies, and she doesn't have, you know, 8 seasons and 6 movies.
Mm-hmm.
Generations, First Contact, Insurrection. No, it says 4 movies. You know, who didn't have that kind of background. You know, I asked her, I was like, so what did you think of that as a finale? You know, and she's like, well, I think all the characters ended up in a good spot. You know, she's like, I didn't like that basically season 1 and 2 were basically completely ignored.
Right.
She's like, speaking for me, who, you know, I only watched those movies and I didn't watch the show, and there's all this show stuff. And then I have to find out that it's a show thing when you start making noises on the couch or we watch the Ready Room. You know,
mm-hmm.
She's like, it was less great for me, but she agreed that it was the most cohesive season of all 3 seasons of Picard.
Yes.
By far. Because we actually, between the penultimate episode and the final episode, we went back and we watched some recaps. We watched some scenes of Picard season 2 when we knew it was the Borg, but we didn't know what was going on. And it was just like, yeah, it's like it happened.
Mm-hmm.
But also, we're not going to mention it ever again.
Right. And we're gonna hand wave it off as, well, it's another timeline, except that you brought her back in the current timeline.
So, yes and no.
Right.
Is the actual answer to that question.
Yes, and yes, there were other factions of the Borg, and this was the Jurati, and
sure,
right,
sure. But yeah, all that aside, this season was definitely something special, and it was a treat. Apart from the logical bump in the road and the narrative bump in the road that was episode 7, 7, 8, 7, 7. Yeah, terrific season.
Dominion?
The
Or they
one,
trap Vatic?
yeah, and she's not dead yet. And then the
Right.
next episode, when Data comes back. Yeah, that episode was a little messy.
Okay.
But I've already talked about how it felt better after once we got to the immediate episode. It was kind of cleaned up. So I'm like, hey, this is what happened, by the way. And we're like, oh, cool. Thanks for letting me know. So all that being said, moving over to the next galaxy far, far away. What did you think of the season 3 finale of The Mandalorian?
I think it still stuck the landing, just a little clumsier.
Okay. Did you care to elaborate, since I basically just talked my whole throat out on Star Trek?
Well, you ever let me get in words edgewise. The whole, like, every season of Mandalorian seems to have the same problem, and I think a lot of the Star Wars series have had the same problem, where they start hot, they slow down, and they run out of runway and cram everything into the last 2 episodes, and it doesn't always feel right.
I mean, it's funny the way that you say that, because my understanding is you're stating that from the perspective of, the live action series is. When you say series, I think of Clone Wars, I think of Rebels, and it's
You
like,
are correct, yes.
And
they've had room to breathe.
were they had a lot of room to breathe, usually 20 plus episodes a season. And you could do some really, really long arcs, and they had much more of a slow burn with some like really just crazy fire episodes here and there, and sometimes finales. And I felt the pacing of season 3 overall was better than season 2.
Very much so. But they still had the Dr. Pershing story arc ended up just kind of being pointless. They could have really wrapped that up a lot quicker.
Agreed. I mean, I feel like The Mandalorian is a show that in its initial premise is amazing, and they wanted to stick to it. But then as soon as they started including legacy characters and the Force and all of this other stuff that we know exists within the Star Wars universe, it's like, okay, well, now we need this. Oh, okay, well, we're going to put some more Mandalorian in the Boba Fett episodes for no reason. We're going to do more cameos from Luke Skywalker. We're going to do
Ashoka,
some one-off episodes because we as writers and creators feel like we need to center on this stuff. And don't get me wrong, I actually really enjoyed the
But when you're only giving a season 8 episodes to do its thing,
yeah, like that's the thing, like
right?
It, like, okay, so the point of the episode with fucking Jack Black and fucking Doc Brown,
and Lizzo,
and Lizzo, in this crime murder mystery thing, which was great, but really at the core plot, it was okay, so we can talk to Axel Wolves. It's like, okay,
did we need all that at all? Not at all.
No,
not at all.
No, we didn't. It was awesome and cool.
This was like the Buffy the Vampire the musical episode.
I don't know about that, but it's contrarian in that, in the penultimate episode, it's like, okay, we're gonna reveal our big bad again. Oh, it's Moff Gideon again.
Did we not know that when we saw what's her face earlier in the Pershing storyline?
No, we're not supposed to note that, Nate. Anyways, I don't know. Like
the Pershing, not the Pershing, the Gideon clones. Like, boy, that didn't have enough time to do anything, did it?
Well, and then the other thing too, it's contradictory in its own self, because like previous episode, he's like, "Oh, whatever that other Black Council guy." He's like, "Oh, the clones were always more your thing."
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, in the final episode, he was like, "Muhaha! Look
Wahaha.
at me now!
Right.
Look at me! I'm the villain."
Right.
You know, and it's like, okay, fine. Um, I don't know. I think,
Right. When this has been like speculated as the origin of Snoke type tech,
yeah,
right?
since like fucking the first season, I think. And I don't even think it's speculation at this point. I feel like we have enough breadcrumbs to go.
Right.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's like,
yeah,
I've made
yeah. It
Force-sensitive
was Snoke.
clones, but you burned
It's the
them all.
it
Or
was the
they could even
fucking.
breathe. And it's like, yeah, I would have actually kind of liked to see that.
I mean, here's what here's what I
Especially
told you
when
in the
Grogu has suddenly gotten really strong, really suddenly, with no training from anyone
he had
else.
he had a little bit of training.
Well, a little bit.
He had like a couple months of training.
Yeah. He was like
He had
lifting
the
frogs
crash
and
course
rocks, and
for
now he's creating impenetrable flame shields.
you know what I thought when that happened? I was like, this scene is taken straight out of Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Uh-huh.
This is his Groot
I
moment.
am Grogu. Groot, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, okay. He's never used that
I mean,
before. I've never
it's
seen any
fine.
other Jedi use that before.
Mm, there's probably some shit in the animated series.
A force field? Like, okay.
I see what you did there, Jack.
You
Dad
did.
joke.
Yeah.
I mean, the things that stuck out to me as odd, apart from the shield thing, which I thought was fine thematically, but at the same time, I was like, this is Guardians of the Galaxy, which I get that you own Disney, but okay.
And again, had you shown some constant training or some sort of work up to
Sure.
suddenly being this strong, it would have made sense. Not, rolling around in a walking marketing ploy of IG-12.
No. Yes.
Right? Coming to your
Uh,
your toy aisles December 25th.
the thing that didn't make any sense to me was Gideon suddenly being like, "Oh, there's a fireball explosion behind me. Let me assume my bad guy death pose
Mm-hmm.
as I get engulfed in flame." And it's like, why?
Mm-hmm.
um, so
Yeah.
I don't know. There's some clunkiness
Right.
to
Again,
the
it's stuck
finale.
the landing. It just was a little more clumsy than I would like it to be. And again, this goes back to something I've been harping on for a while. Give seasons longer run times. 12
Yeah,
episodes. 10
like
is probably, I think, the minimum now.
like I get that they're spending a lot of money on special effects because it's fucking Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get it, but like
Nobody's asking for that.
let some shit breathe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I don't understand it. Like obviously Pedro Pascal's paid well, but he's not even there half the time.
Right. And enough
Like
that they
it's
have to
fucking
credit his doubles, both of them, every
yeah, right.
episode.
Like you know, doesn't like I get that Giancarlo Esposito is a big name and he's a big bad and he's played a lot of big bads.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, and I said this in DMs, I think he should remain the big bad for the Mandalorian. Because I mean, you've already introduced the fact that he has got clones going on, so if he's
Right.
not half roboticized on
Who's
the face,
to say that wasn't a clone that got eliminated on, right?
facts.
So,
The thing that did throw me off though was him crushing the dark saber.
right.
That threw me off because that's a little piece of interesting George Lucas lore and nugget that's been floating around since the Clone Wars for over a decade now in
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars medium. And the fact that they just kind of casually broke it.
Right.
And I was talking it over with my wife, and this of course gets on the nerdier side of delineation of what I know and what she doesn't know. And I was like, I can't believe they broke the Darksaber. And she's like, well, the Mandalorians will just repair it. I was like,
no,
they're just going to repair a 10,000-year-old lightsaber. And nobody knows how to make a lightsaber except for those Force sensitive. And then she's like, so they can't repair it? And I'm like, no. No, they cannot.
Unless Grogu can suddenly repair lightsabers with the little, droid fixer dudes.
Yeah, so the thing about that canon wise is in the Ahsoka trailer, which is now floating around, there is a shot of the droid of a very special particular droid that's from one really awesome episode of Clone Wars way back in the day. And it's this droid that's been around for nobody even knows how long, but it's the droid that teaches younglings how to make a lightsaber.
Okay.
And it's like the only way anybody knows how to make a lightsaber other than like intuiting it through the Force. And it's a really awesome episode. And they take them to like a cave and they talk all about kyber crystals. And there's all this like cool lore stuff to it. And it's like, so unless that droid's gonna pop over to Mandalorian. But then there was some other stuff that I was hearing. So some people were saying that the Mandalorian's basically done for now, and there's gonna be Ahsoka and a couple other shows, and then there's gonna be like an Avengers style team up movie that finishes up Ahsoka and the Mandalorian and some other character. And I'm like, okay, sure,
right?
Why not? I guess.
Cash grab.
So yeah, I don't know. I was pretty satisfied as a whole. This season. I don't know. Like I think like I was saying in the beginning, one of the problems that the show has that I think fans have is delineating between, okay, it's a show about the fucking Mandalorian versus it's a show about Star Wars.
Right.
Like, and neither the fans nor the writers, directors, executive producers can seem to make up their fucking mind about which lane they want to fucking stay in.
Right.
Which is funny because I've said the same thing to some of my Star Wars friends, and they've been like, "But you didn't see Andor, so you should shut up and watch Andor."
They're not wrong.
And I'm like, okay, I'll fucking get to it, I guess. So yeah, so we'll see, I guess.
I watched a fun movie tonight.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Super Mario Brothers movie.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think I talked about that last episode. What did you think?
I thought it was freaking adorable.
Yeah, you take your kids?
Well, my kids came into my office and watched it with me. Oh. Pirate site. Yes.
Large eye roll of not condoning.
Good. Go ahead. But yeah, no, it was clever. I didn't see any of the glaring issues that a lot of people have been like, I can't believe they did this, and it's like, okay. Yeah. Other than it being, one, probably they hit their Wahoo quota real early on. And
I think that was mandatory.
Yeah, and the It's a Me's, they hit that quota too.
Yep.
But yeah, like other than that, it was like Jack Black played an amazing Bowser.
Yeah. How about Peaches, huh?
How about Peaches? That was the only time that
charting number 8.
Right.
On the Billboard charts.
Had you not told me Jack Black was playing Bowser, that would have been the only indication in that entire movie that was actually Jack Black.
Because that's like the most Jack Black thing of all time.
Right.
Whereas apart from that, fucking good performance, I thought. Fucking.
Really whereas Donkey Kong, you could very clearly tell that was Seth Rogen. Like I didn't even like. I had to keep reminding myself, like, oh yeah, it's Chris Pratt playing Mario.
Yeah, he did great.
So
yeah, that was really good. Or how about Keegan playing Toad
Would have never guessed it.
with that ludicrous high.
Right?
I don't even know what to call that voice.
Falsetto?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, something. Like he fucking really wrangled his vocal cords on that one, that's for sure.
Yeah, like would have never guessed that was Keegan-Michael Key.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I like that they didn't, other than the Peaches song, they didn't trope the voice actors like you see a lot. Like, had Donkey Kong been smoking a joint kind of thing.
I mean, I don't think that would ever happen.
But you know what I mean? But like, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Or if you would have been like passively high, like, you know, Shaggy and Scooby-Doo. Like everyone knew the dude was stoned, but you know.
Yeah, for sure. What did your ears pick up anything delightful about the score?
Oh yeah, my ears picked up almost everything about the score, and it was very delightful. Yeah, that again,
fucking great.
Goes back to the previous thing, fan service. Like they did some very good fan service and some very poor fan service. One of my favorite bits of fan service in that was Luigi's ringtone.
Right.
Right.
I laughed out loud in the theater that it's the GameCube fucking startup.
As soon as I heard it, I went,
like, oh, that's fucking
really
great.
nice.
Well, but it also, if you think about it a little more than 2 seconds, it actually makes a lot of sense since
Luigi's
his first
Castle.
game was on Luigi's Mansion.
Or Luigi's,
but,
yeah.
It's fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
fantastic
little things
film.
like that.
By the way, this week Nintendo confirmed that they are indeed doing more Nintendo air quotes movies with Illumination.
Okay.
So
they seem to partner well.
Nobody. Yeah. I think they were the right fit for sure. For sure.
Yeah, they have that right amount of, I don't know, bubbly animation. Like they know how to make animation fun and not realistic kind of thing.
Yeah, which really works for Nintendo stuff. Yeah, for sure. I also watched a fun movie last night that just came out.
Oh.
No. I watched Ghosted with Chris Evans and Anna de Armas. You've not heard of this. It's an Apple TV Plus film. I think it's also out in theaters. Just came out yesterday. To preface it, it is a romantic spy comedy film from both the Deadpool writers and the team that wrote the 3 MCU Spider-Man films.
Okay. So it's got chops on the writers.
Yeah, it's got a lot of chops on the writer's side. And then without spoiling anything, there is an absolute metric fuck ton of specifically MCU actors that are cameos in this film in just the most hilarious possible ways. But the premise of the film is in the title. It's about Chris Evans, who's a fucking American farmer who's just bad at love and he's a little too clingy. And he has an amazing one-night stand with a girl and, texts her too much. And so she ghosts him. And through a mishap of them sleeping together, he's got basically, I don't think they call it in the film, but it might as well have been like an Apple AirTag. And and he sees that she's in London. And on a spur of the moment, he decides to go surprise her, even though she hasn't talked to him in 4 days. And then they get embroiled in stuff because she's a fucking spy. And he's the dainty damsel in distress.
Nice flip of the tropes, right?
Yeah, the whole flip of the tropes. And, I think there's a thing while she's fighting off like 6 assassins in a bus driving backwards down a fucking hill in Pakistan. and he's screaming and she's like, "What's wrong with you?" And he's like, "I think I swallowed a rock." And there's like explosions going off everywhere. Very fun movie. Good acting, good writing, good cameos. Was just a very fun ride. I would say go in expecting like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith type of
Oh, I see,
tone
and
to
I
the
love
movie.
those kind of movies.
It's great.
I am IMDb rating of 5.8 out of 10, but the popularity is 82 and rising.
Yeah, I mean, it only came out less than 24 hours ago, so
yeah,
you know. But yeah, no, it's just fun. It's just a fun movie. Like I said, the cameos.
yeah. I
Man,
saw on the
it
IMDb
has a
listing
ton of
has a ton of
cameos.
cameos.
Yeah, I would say don't spoil them and go watch it, and
Right.
you'll just be in for a good freaking laugh when a ton of these A-list actors pop up in unexpected ways. There's some sequences in the film that are just downright hysterical. And I will say there's even some cameos that are not on IMDb,
Oh, I'm
thankfully.
sure. Yeah.
Very funny stuff. Check out Ghosted if you have access to Apple TV Plus. Don't think we talked about this last time based on when we recorded, but you are now saying John Wick 4 is now your favorite of the series.
Yes.
So 4 is really that good, huh?
I think 4 is really that good.
Damn. Huh? Okay.
And another one, again, since this has been the theme for stuff, the conclusions of series is sticking landings. Again.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Does it in
even though there's gonna be a 5.
Doesn't need to be.
Okay.
Right.
Well, it's happening. As is a spin-off happening between John Wick 4 and 5 called The Ballerina, ironically starring Anna de Armas. It's called The Ballerina, I think.
We'll okay.
And then you also said Tetris was a gem of a movie.
Absolute gem of a movie. I did not have a whole lot of expectations going into it, and I've now seen it twice because I had to have a buddy of mine come over who was like, dude, I watched Tetris the other day. He goes, I want to see it. I'm like, I want to show it to you.
Oh, man. So it's that good, huh?
I liked it. I thought you saw it.
No, I haven't seen it.
It is.
I talked about it.
It is everything you want to see out of a movie, and it's surrounding Tetris. Like,
yeah.
You walk in, it's got humor, it's got intrigue, it's got espionage, it's got just sordid love interests. You look and you go, this is Tetris?
I mean, me and my wife were actually talking about possibly seeing Tetris the other day. Because we saw the trailer a while back. I talked about it on the show. And I was telling her actually just the other day, I was like, well, Nate says Tetris is a gem of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, really? And then I was like, yeah, that's what he says.
And you're like, but he also likes blah, blah, blah. So who knows?
I didn't say that. But no, what I said was, I was like, I feel like, because we just finished Ghosted, I was like, I feel like there's probably a theme here, and it's, we haven't seen all the Apple TV Plus movies that they've got on their service, but we've seen a handful of them.
Mm-hmm.
They're all really good, and I was like, I feel like the theme is whoever the fuck is picking their content or taking their stuff to the finish line, they got really good taste.
Yeah.
Or
they've got a really good focus group that is like hitting.
Yeah, or something. Yeah. They're doing something right. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Apple TV Plus reminds me of the way HBO used to be.
Mm-hmm. You mean now Max?
Well, HBO is still HBO, but within Max.
Yeah.
God, let me start it on that. Oh wait, no, that's the next thing we have to talk about. uh,
Segue.
so it, so HBO Max is officially rebranding as Max. They are not doing a new app. All HBO Max apps will turn into HBO. I have had to think about that for a second. HBO Max apps
Right, which is
will
HBO
turn
Go,
into
HBO Max, and HBO Now.
to be clear, HBO Go and HBO Now, as far as I know, are still around. HBO Go is how you watch HBO if you have a cable package.
Mm-hmm.
HBO Now is only if you want to watch HBO content. And then HBO Max is how you watch everything unless Warner Brothers has decided that they need a tax cut. But they will be relaunching HBO Max as just Max. So gone is the purple, and they're going with the blue setup. So,
Mm-hmm.
just like fucking Amazon, Disney, literally every other fucking streaming service.
Right, it's
Apparently,
going to
they
be
like the
real
color
easy
blue.
real hard to find my individual apps on my Roku screen.
Yeah,
Look for the blue one. They're all blue
annoying.
now.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. So
Yeah, I've
to
already gotten the warning on my Hulu account because we have the integrated
mm-hmm,
Hulu,
mm-hmm,
HBO,
mm-hmm.
and I think like ESPN Plus package,
Yes.
and already got the warning
So
that it's going up another $1.
yes. So Max is launching on May 23rd with 3 price tiers: Max Ad Light, Max. Okay, my screen just got taken over by an ad. Actually, that's cool. That's great. We're talking about ads, and it's just like, oh, you want more ads? Here you go. So Max Ad Light, Max Ad Free, and Max Ultimate Ad Free. Ad Light is going to cost consumers $9.99 per month, which will allow for 2 concurrent streams, but with no offline downloads. Ad Free will retain HBO Max's current price tag of $15.99 per month. Fund consumers 2 concurrent streams of up to and up to
And up
30
to,
offline
yeah.
and up to 30 offline downloads. Finally, Ultimate Ad Free will cost a pricey $19.99 per month, but comes with 4 concurrent streams, up to 4K Ultra HD resolutions, 100 offline downloads, and Dolby Atmos sound quality.
Now, personally, I've never used the offline download crap.
Yeah, I've never ever. I used the one on Netflix once
Yeah,
on a plane.
yep. I had a movie
Well,
queued
like,
up for the kids for the
yeah.
airplane.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like it seems like you have ad supported, ad
Mm-hmm.
free, and 4K is
Well,
really the
and the thing
differentiators
that's,
between those. And if you're really that interested in having everything in 4K, which I don't know how much of the content out there is 4K.
I mean, a lot.
You think so?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I would say pretty much all the movies, all the TV shows from 2010 onwards are going to be 4K.
Upsampled or native?
I would say probably 2K upsampled, then one if the season went on long enough, turned into 4K.
Okay.
I think the thing for me though is I do care very much about 4K Ultra HD resolution, and I do care about Dolby Atmos sound quality.
Mm-hmm.
But what I don't care about is paying WB more money,
Right.
or the fact that
I will
they
not
used to have it
reward your
all.
bad behavior, WB.
Yeah, you know, um,
Give me Batgirl,
it's.
I'll get your HBO Max ad free. Plus.
I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't really give a shit about Batgirl, if I'm totally honest. But like, there's definitely, like, with all the cartoon shows that got pulled from iTunes that I owned,
Mm-hmm.
from the stuff that they have pulled from the service already, to canceling Final Space, to all the shenanigans that has been going on with HBO Max and Warner Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at the beginning of the year,
I mean, you got rid of my Westworld. Get out of here.
Yeah, that too. That too. That's a big one. In fact, you can't even watch it on any HBO. Oh yeah, go look for it. It's not there.
I haven't tried to go look.
I'm not even kidding you.
Wow.
You can't.
Okay.
Yep.
Nothing to see here.
Yep. It's a serious. You question the nature of your reality,
right? Will this be a Mandela thing later on? It's like, yeah, I watched Westworld. Westworld never existed. What are you talking about? And you're gonna be like, yeah, it had Cyclops in it. No, he never did that. And you'll have interviews with James
Tom from the Sonic movie.
Yeah, we'll have interviews with James Marsden, and he'll go, I don't know what this Westworld is you're speaking of, and we're all gonna go, son of no.
No, what they're gonna say is, it doesn't look like anything to me.
Right.
Yeah. But it's so funny because the conversation's changed so drastically around WB since the start of the year. Like we went from all kinds of craziness from fucking Ezra Miller's arrest to fucking Johnny Depp's ex-wife to fucking Johnny Depp's firing to James Gunn gutting the DC universe to like all these other crazy things, you know. And at the beginning of the year, me and the wife were like, you know, well, we still want to see Shazam, so we're gonna go see that in the theater, which we didn't, because well, A, scheduling, and then B, we're just like, well, but why? Why should we give our money to this company?
Right.
You know, and it sucks because I do love Zachary Levi and I like the first Shazam movie, you know, and it's now the lowest grossing original DC Universe film. Period. It made less than the fucking terrible Suicide Squad. Not the good one, the bad one. The fact that I have to preface that is ludicrous. You know, and you know, WB is in such free fall that you can look no further than the fact that they had to rebrand their thing, change price tiers, add ads, and then shortly after the Max announcement, they officially announced that they are doing a 10-year-long commitment to a Harry Potter TV series.
I don't trust the word commitment.
Right.
We're monetarily committed to it, so we're going to pay someone for the next 10 years, whether we actually do anything with the product.
I mean,
yeah, well, I've just been burned too many times. Like,
and I can see why, because Hogwarts Legacy is the highest selling game of the year.
Sure,
that's why. And because and because Harry Potter sells.
Sure,
and I myself and my
there's a lot of comic book fatigue going on. Right, in viewers, like they're starting to see the results of people. They're like, we're kind of done with comic book movies for a minute.
Yeah, there does seem to be more comic book fatigue this year than other years. Like I said, Ant-Man Quantumanium was really fun, but I know it was a little soft for actually releasing in theaters and stuff. You know, it's funny, the subject of Harry Potter talk is constant in my work life because I'm doing a lot of driving, and me and my partner, we're actually listening to the books on audiobooks, and we're on book 4 now. And it's the catch-22 of like, we'll be listening and be like, oh yeah, I remember this. And I was like, wait, was that a movie thing only? Or is that a book thing?
Right.
You know, and then there's some other stuff, you know, like the Quidditch World Cup in book 4, which is just a fucking speck in the movies, just glossed over. And it's like, man, this would be so fucking awesome to like see this instead of, you know, having it being described in an audiobook.
Right.
But at the same time, both me and my partner Brock, we go back and forth almost every day on like, well, but as far as book adaptations go, the the 8 movies that we got are actually really, really good, and they're really well casted, and they're largely well directed, and they're largely well adapted. And it's just like, well, has there been enough time between, I think the last movie was 2011. So it's not even really been that long. It's only been a little more than a decade. And it's like, because and that's the thing, there was 8 movies. It was a historic British cast, and only people in Europe were cast, and just tons and tons and tons and tons of European heavy hitter actors have been in that franchise, and it's just like, whoa, how do you do that again? You've like used up, for a lack of a better term, you've used up all the amazing. You've used up Gary Oldman,
Right.
You've used up other actors.
Well, and
Alan
a lot of
Rickman's no longer with us.
Yeah, a couple of the actors are no longer with us.
And I feel like the only way acting wise you could make that work is if you opened it up so that it wasn't only European people. And I'm sure some people would bitch about that, but it's like, okay, but you need some fresh blood.
Right. And it was 2011 was Deathly Hallows Part 2. So it's been a minute.
I was right.
Yeah.
Nailed it. So it's just like the whole thing reeks of WB saying, hey, look at us. Give us your money.
Right.
Just give it to us.
Let's squeeze another rock. Every drop of cash we can get out of it.
Promise we're good for it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It just fucking. I don't know, WB. You're not who you used to be. Not who you used to be. Speaking of one last entertainment thing before moving on, they didn't need. I actually didn't know where to put this topic.
Are we talking about Lego Sonics?
They announced more Lego Sonic the Hedgehog sets.
Nice.
I'm very excited.
You're going to be very broke.
Yes, $285 for all 5 sets.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice that there's 5 sets, so it can be spread around a bit. Available August 1st. They look great. I'm just saying, I'm like, I need them.
I need them. I want them. I finally built a Lego thing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What do you got there?
I don't know. It's some farm set that someone got my girls for.
Okay.
Christmas or Easter. I don't know.
Is it actually Lego?
It is actually Lego.
Brand? Okay. Fair enough.
It was kind of fun to build because my daughter comes in, she hands me the bags and hands me the instructions, says, I want to build this. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to be building this. And she goes, I'll help. I said, cool. Sort all the pieces. When I ask for one, hand it to me.
How'd she do?
She did great.
Awesome.
Until she got distracted and started building things out of the spare pieces all on her own. And then I needed the one piece, and it was a structure piece. So I can't swap this out, sweetheart. You need to take apart whatever that is you're building and give daddy the piece.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, there was a truck and a whole like diorama of like a greenhouse.
Did your instruction set have like a QR code in it?
I don't recall.
Okay, because if it's a new enough set, like Lego, this is what happened with my Sonic set. I was able to scan a QR code, and they'd like have a fucking app, and instead of just pages, like you could do it like piece by piece, which is like super fucking helpful. And you can like rotate the shit in 3D and whatnot.
Oh, nice.
It's like, okay, this is way more helpful than a 2D instruction book.
Oh, especially on something much more complex than what I was building.
Oh God. Well, I think, like I said, I have a lot of the Halo Mega Bloks constructs behind me, and they're really well crafted.
Mm-hmm.
But them instructions leave a little something to be desired. I think, like I said, the Master Chief Majolier Mark 7 helmet, awesome looking. I never want to do it again. It was so painful and infuriating. It was not a fun build experience. Looks cool, not fun to build.
Yeah.
And like that that was sharply contrasted to the Sonic Lego set, which was extremely complicated because it's a much, much, much bigger set. It's very long. It's like
A friend of mine,
it's like a foot and a half long.
her and her boyfriend decided they wanted to put together the Millennium Falcon one.
Which one? The original giant one or the new adult one that's like 100 billion pieces?
The new one that's like 100 billion pieces. And they built it. And now it's been living in my friend's spare bedroom to the point where she was like, I'm about to write you a rental agreement.
You can't park this hunk of trash anywhere.
Can't go anywhere. And it's like, wow, that's great. You built that thing. Now what?
Yeah. Crazy stuff. All right, let's spin the ring.
Yep.
Let's move on. We have other topics to get to before we close out the show.
If we can get to them.
All right, we've actually landed on Earth, which is fine. We don't have a ton of
video games.
Nope, that's tech.
That's tech. We have barely any tech. There was, we had your keyboard thing, and then did we talk about the USB port thing?
Nope, that's the only new thing that's in there.
Yeah, it's called common sense. Don't plug into.
Yeah, but see, Nate, now officially the FBI is warning against using public USB ports due to malware risks. Okay. We have to listen to the government because the government always knows. Why would they lie to us?
It's the dumbest thing ever. If you can't see the other end of it, and even if you can see the other end of it, don't trust it. It's a battery pack. Yeah. Sure it is. It's a, miniature hard drive that will also happen to trickle charge your phone. It's got nothing but spyware and malware on it. And you know what's funny? Like, I've been to conventions, I've been to airports, I've been to people using them, and I'm like,
sure.
Well, it's been nice knowing you.
Well, think about it this way. There's two scenarios. They don't care, they're desperate, or they don't care.
Okay.
So those are the scenarios. For sure.
Don't do it, kids.
Yeah, don't do it, kids. I don't think there's anything else that came up technological wise. If you want to count all the OBS talk at the beginning,
right
there you go.
Yeah,
that's little tech teaser there.
Speaking of OBS, I actually fired mine up the other day, and I was like,
yeah,
I think I might actually stream today. And then I went, oh, none of my audio sources are still here. None of my video sources are still here.
Welcome to Windows streaming, and why I fucking hate it.
None of my
like why can't it just
my
save?
touchpad stuff, the touch portal.
Why can't it just save?
Right.
And even if you do save the scene, it's like, okay, but moved
my scenes are all there.
Oh, I know, but they were black, right?
No, all the images when everything were there. The problem was I'm looking at all my VUs and I'm like, oh, it's not picking up my voice. Oh, all the default video sources and audio sources have gone back to. I clicked on my scene and I'm like, okay, video source, and it says,
yep,
not available. I clicked the little pull down and there's the three of them.
You're like, I'm pretty sure it's this one.
Yeah.
Why are you not seeing it?
Yeah.
Why are you not seeing it?
So yeah, and I was just like, wow, and just to get everything set back up and to set my Stream Deck alternative over here, just to set, I was like, I would have been, 40 minutes into it to game for like 20. No thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So almost hit that go live button. Spin it.
I believe in you, Nate. Nope. We just landed on that.
Water.
Nope. Just landed on that again. That's triple technology. We've landed on life stories and fire, and I think I'm going to need to take a bio break before we dive into this thing.
I'm glad you had fun with that.
Oh God, life.
Yes. Now that your bladder is gladder.
Yes, it is gladder. As I go to intoxicate it up
now. Now you're like, I am going to libate. You want to get into your life first, or you want to just briefly go through mine? Give you a second to breathe into this.
Yeah, let's do yours, man.
Okay, so
I got a lot going on.
Yeah,
actually, I thought about calling you a couple of times.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't. You're always welcome to.
I'm busy, dude.
I'm well aware. Believe me. But yeah, so around the Foo household lately, my wife being the teacher that she is currently embroiled in a very hotly disputed teachers union conflict. Pay teachers, folks. I mean, that's the long and short of it is they haven't gotten their fair due in a very long time, and they're not keeping up with cost of living, and they're basically essentially raising your kids for you while you're at work. They're not allowed to, like, being able to discipline kids has gotten harder and harder and harder and harder because of laws and rules and regulations and, parents for parents going, how dare you discipline my child? I'm like, well, you kind of chopped us off in the knees for this. They're becoming ever so reliant on technology to do their jobs, which means, they don't just have their degrees in education. They have to basically have a beyond solid working knowledge of networking, technology, troubleshooting, help desk, because, the IT departments for most school districts are lackluster at best. So like, well, guess what? Nothing in my classroom works. Let me submit a trouble ticket and wait whatever 3, 4, 5, 6 days.
Days?
Yeah.
Man, you guys got quick response time over there.
Yeah. Like, so yeah, you can imagine it's like you got very limited time to do your job. If you're not Johnny on the spot with getting the tech up and running, that lesson's gone.
Yeah.
And the district that she works in has been operating at a surplus for the last 20 years by basically maneuvering money around in clever ways to not spend it. But their superintendent of their district, for a much smaller district than the probably second largest school district in the country, makes the same amount of money. So for them to come back and say, well, we just don't have it in the funds to pay you more, and like they've been making concession after concession. They've been operating without a contract for over a year or almost a year now, right?
Isn't that not normal for a teachers union?
Operating without a contract?
Yeah.
No, you're a union. You should be always operating in a contract, and you're not allowed to strike unless you've been operating off contract for a minimum of a year, because they're essential.
Wait, so you're allowed to go off contract, but then you can only strike after a year of being not on contract?
The districts,
but you like keep your job?
The district's allowed to not renew your contract and can do so for up to a year before the teachers are actually allowed to do anything about it, because of the nature of their job being essential and, basically the backbone of, every CEO, every politician, every whatever can thank a teacher at some point in time for getting them their education to get them where they are today. Hell, you and I can say the same thing. So
Wait, what are we saying?
Where you're at in your life, you can probably trace it back and thank a teacher.
No.
No?
No.
You don't know how to read? You didn't learn to read from a teacher? That wasn't it.
No.
That wasn't crucial.
I was homeschooled.
Oh, okay. Well, you had a teacher.
And then I got put to work. Then I got put to work when I was 15.
You had a teacher. That teacher just happened to be your parents.
Well, no, it was my mom. I didn't do shit.
Okay. So you can directly trace it back.
How big
to
a
one
can
person.
of worms you open in here, Nate?
Yeah, but you can trace it back to one person. But you get the point.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Without playing semantics.
Sure.
So yeah, it's been absolutely taking up all of her time because it's like, oh, she still has to do her job during the day, and then as a site representative, well, all of her nights are spent working on contracts, working on paperwork, reading paperwork, keeping in touch with the rest of the teachers, and still trying to raise our two girls alongside me, and like. For the most part, when she's not doing all this, I get to, kind of have fun and sit in my office and not do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So
it sounds like she's doing too much.
She's doing way too much.
And not being compensated for it.
And not being compensated for it. Exactly. And financially and even, on my side of it emotionally, it's like, because I'm not used to having to take on this load. It's like I got blindsided by it too, and it's just like, so it's there's turmoil, frustration, agony, running rampant, from her from morning to night, and it's it just makes for interesting times around the house. We're not, well, she's not peaches and cream happy all the time. Thankfully, I'm not a horrible dad. And just go, well.
Oh, you're not?
No.
Can confirm on the podcast here.
Can confirm.
Everybody, Nate says.
Yes.
And I quote.
Yes.
I'm not
a horrible dad. But no, like, yeah, I've had to step up and take care of the kids and make sure that they're in bed, make sure that they're getting everything that they need. It's just that their parental fulfillment, someone there to play with them and make sure that they don't go diving headfirst through a plate glass window.
Are they trying to do that often?
They're kids. That's what they do. There's someone made a video game about that where the entire object of the game is to keep the baby alive, and the baby will try numerous ways to kill itself.
What fucking video game are you talking about?
I forget the name of it. There is a video game, and it's basically
Jesus.
You prevent baby from dying.
Okay, if you say so.
Oh gosh. Yeah, it's just fun. Like, yeah. I don't know how it's all going to resolve, and it has bigger impacts in the long run because this is her financial well-being. She is the co-breadwinner in this house, so that source of income dwindling in light of everything else in this everything else getting more and more expensive. Not making for good stuff. To the point where she's actually looked at me and said, I'm contemplating not doing this anymore. Which that's sad because she's dedicated her entire life to becoming a teacher. It was her passion. And for her to say that, that's just like, that breaks my heart.
Sure, absolutely. What would she do if she didn't do that?
That's a good question, Tim. Because I don't know, I don't know what her skill set is outside of all the education stuff that she's got her degree in history and another degree in English. She's thinking about going back and getting a credential in technology so that she has a little more leverage when it comes to holding her positions. But like outside of that, it's like everything else she's had outside of the education stuff has just been retail experience. So not a lot of Yeah, not a lot of job openings for retired teachers in day-to-day life.
Mm. Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so my wife has given me permission to talk about what's been going on with her at work, complete with corporate names.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think what we'll do is we'll explain the situation first,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll rip the Band-Aid off on the mega corporation that she works for. So, my wife has worked for this corporation since the beginning of COVID
Right.
for 3.5 years now.
She's Kajarl, yes.
She has climbed the ladders to be what they would call equivalent of an assistant manager within her department, at least for the seasonal quantity of, I think it's like October to like the first week of this year.
Mm-hmm.
And she's, I think I've said that she works in a warehouse before, and she's done everything from clearing jams to making sure orders to all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and people that are
And
astute probably have already figured out a lot of that.
yeah, probably. And she's good at her job. She's never had a write-up. She's never been pulled into HR. She's never been any kind of disciplinary action. Never anything.
Mm-hmm.
In 3.5 years, that's a long time to work for anybody,
Right.
and not have any kind of kerfuffle or written kerfuffle.
Mm-hmm.
The last started 2 months ago, so in April, March, so really February. February is when problems started happening.
Right. Didn't she get reassigned something like that?
No. So February, I guess a bunch of management people left, quit, and or got transferred to other states
Mm-hmm.
with other warehouses, and new people were passing her up for a promotion that she was well due. I think she mentioned she started noticing things were going really wrong when some people she'd known, or I guess had been there since the building opened over a decade ago, were just fired out of the blue. And then someone who she trained on roles got hired for the full-time assistant manager position, and she trained them for it.
Right.
She's like, what? I literally just did this in a seasonal capacity. Why would you not? And she was told that on her seasonal thing, which was in the gift wrapping department, that she had the highest statistics of that department in 7 years. She was told.
Okay.
And so she was noticing things were just going really weird. So she thought to herself, I will just transfer to a different department with a different position, learn a new skill, and see if I can't climb in a different direction over there. Because the people I'm working with over there are not the same anymore. Things are going sideways. So she transferred beginning of March. The way she's described it to me is that her job consists of climbing up a ladder, looking at a box on a conveyor belt, physically counting the items by hand, punching the number in a computer that the computer, I guess, also like looks at the box with a camera and counts them. And so you're basically just verifying, I guess,
what the eye in the sky says. Yeah.
Doing the job. Okay. That is the entirety of the job. This is a far cry from her managerial position, where and I went to her work last summer, on a take your hubby to work kind of day thing. And I got to see her just insane nerve center of like 3 80-inch screens with giant multicolored spreadsheets, and you're moving colors around to fill people in positions, to assign people tasks.
Okay.
It was just bonkers. Right. This is what she did for 12 hours a day. 10 hours a day? 12 hours? I don't fucking know.
She's like playing a real life version of SimCity.
Yeah, and she's a big Sims fan, so she would fit right in. Probably yelled at people in Simlish. I don't know. So she went to this other position, right? Which sounds so fucking simple. A fucking monkey could do it.
Right. Other than the physical aspect of it being different.
Yeah, other than the physical aspect being different. But, she's like, it wasn't as bad as like clearing a jam on a conveyor belt or a line.
Sure.
Like that. And so the first week, she's doing this new position, which she is with a trainer all week because she's not done this thing. She got a write-up. Now, her understanding from the employee manual is that whenever you're training on a new position, you're protected from write-ups for 3 weeks upon taking the new position because it's a fucking new position in your training. Okay. She got a write-up. And this freaked her out because A, it wasn't supposed to happen, and B, she never ever gotten written up. And she's a goody, follow rules kind of gal. And for starters, not only is the job counting things, but she's also in her 3rd year of university for, drumroll please, accounting.
Right.
So her 2nd week,
still training.
She got another write-up.
Still training?
Supposedly still in the training window, but she didn't have a trainer anymore.
Okay.
Still got a write-up. She was really freaked out because her whole time here, everything she had been told was that people operate on a 3 write-ups, 3 strikes, you're out. You're on grounds for termination or firing thing. So she was freaking out because she's had this job a long time. Prior to moving to this department and whatever happened with the personnel in her prior department, she kind of loved her job. She loved the people. She loved going there. She liked what she was doing. Is that kept her mind occupied enough for her that she was satisfied. Checked a lot of boxes for her. Allowed her to go to university, helped pay for some of her college, got me insurance when I had an emergency medical thing, and then we got married because of it.
Lots of good things.
A lot of things. A lot of good things have come of this. But in the last couple months, it's just been really, really bad. So she got her 3rd strike a week after that.
She's getting 1 a week, huh?
Yeah. And she's not supposed to be able to. And my understanding when she was talking to her boss in HR is that she was told, yeah, you missed like 1 item here on 1 day. And it's like, okay. 1?
Right.
1. Every time? Once a week. What? So she started freaking out because she's like, well, if I get a 3rd one, like, I'm going to get fucking fired. And I was like, that's really bad because like I work and I provide insurance for us, and I get groceries, and I of course take care of other things financially and stuff. And so she's been super fucking wound tight about it.
Sure.
Where
again, it's your livelihood's at stake here.
Yeah. And so she
Lord knows she doesn't want to go back to work for you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
We'll get into my side of things here shortly. So she's been wound really, really, really tight. It's been very, very stressful. She's been not fun to be around. And on top of that, It's been affecting her school. She's done not so well in some tests. And she's been using every available opportunity of paid time off, not paid time off, vacation time to extend her time there. Because she put in for a transfer 2 weeks ago. Her transfer window, I believe, is the 21st, which was yesterday. To go back to her old department where she was fucking good at and never got written up ever, even if the people there sucked.
Right.
And so she was told, I guess, by HR that the only way that she could get these things expunged is if she applied for like a medical disability, because she is on some stuff for her lady parts. That has to do with baby making and stuff that has been not having a good time on. And but then she was also told you can apply for it, but they like never approve it, so don't bother. So as of this morning, she was told that she got an additional 2 write-ups. She now has a total of 5 write-ups. And if you hadn't guessed, the mega monolithic company that we're talking about here is Amazon, because we live in Washington State, the home base of Amazon. And she was looking at her employee paperwork today, and they were like, her employee paperwork basically stated, if you want to defend a thing, you need to be able to look at the policy that is being applied to you from Amazon management. She's asked for said policy. Policy will not be given. So she is preparing herself.
This is some fuckery is what this is.
Getting fired
right
next week. And she's extra stressed out because she actually went and applied to a couple other jobs around here. She didn't get 2 of them. She was super bummed about because she's way the fuck overqualified. And she's super depressed and basically is like, well, you're willing to pick up the finances a little bit. She's like, Amazon has to pay for, I think it's like almost 2 years of unemployment or something.
Okay.
If she went on unemployment. And she's like, I've only got a year left of school. I can't seem to find anywhere that will pay me as well as Amazon. Right. Like, there are some places that have almost as good of benefits, but
not the pay, and probably won't work around the school hours as well.
No, all the ones she's applied for are in that category.
Okay.
So she's all fucking racked about it, and she's super sad, and as she was making wonderful dinner for us tonight, and I was like, I see you got yourself some cake when you went to the store there. She's like, yeah, it's depression cake.
Yep.
I'm gonna shove it in my
I'm gonna eat my feelings tonight, Tim.
And I was like, okay.
Yep.
That's fine.
I know when I open up the freezer and see a pint of ice cream, I know what's going on.
I mean, those are here even if
yes,
it's not sad.
Well, there's a specific kind that's we have depression ice cream, and we have like, if I ever see a bottle of Fireball in this house,
oh god,
yeah, that's our grieving whiskey.
That's your wife.
That is grieving whiskey, is what that is.
I want to get fucked up whiskey. Oh man, it's Fireball. Oh man, gross.
It's a family thing.
Okay.
I think I told you way back in the day, her father and her grandfather literally passed within a week of each other. Like, her grandfather passed at her father's.
I do remember you saying that.
Right. So everyone was just like, the entire family was there, and the only bottle of anything they had in the house was that giant jug of Fireball. So that became,
because there's always a giant jug of Fireball,
right?
For some fucking reason.
Because nobody drinks the damn thing.
Yeah.
But everyone brings a bottle to the party. So yeah, they had the giant jug of Fireball, and so that became the grieving whiskey.
Yeah. So anyway, so Jessica's all freaked out about that. I have not had a sit down yet with my partner to be like, hey, if this happens, can I get dispersed some more money from my own company to handle this? And this is going to be the plan moving forward. I'll probably talk to him about it on Monday.
Sure.
So on top of that, I've had a lot of work stress going on. I've had a rib out for 2 weeks. So that's been great.
Fun.
Sleep's been sucking. My identity got stolen last Friday.
Oh yeah, I think you said something about that. How did that
it ultimately resolved as a false alarm.
Okay.
What happened was, it's tax month, file taxes.
Mm-hmm.
My tax lady is like, hey, IRS kicked your stuff back. I was like, because I've had problems with the IRS before. I'm like,
sure.
Okay, what now? And then they're like, well, your spouse already filed jointly. And I was like,
no, she didn't.
Yeah, that's what we did. And she's like, yeah, it's not Jessica. And I was like, oh,
it's your other wife?
I was like, well, I'm married to a Jessica, so can you check it again? And so what ultimately ended up happening was there's a big whole 48-hour period where we thought my identity had been stolen. And it ended up being not, and something got entered in wrong by some fucking junior somebody in the accounting office, and
Gotcha.
Whole thing.
So somehow your tax ID got attached to someone else's taxes?
Yeah, it was just a paperwork mess up.
Gotcha.
It's been resolved. But still, I was like, fucking Christ. I don't need this now, too. But tops of all that, and there's a bunch of business stuff going on. I'm going to be on the road all next week.
Right. I'm assuming business is starting to pick up with the weather improving.
I mean, business hasn't really slowed.
Okay.
It's been a little quieter this month, so we've been able to catch up on some paperwork stuff. But I now have a new problem.
Oh?
Which is going to take a decent amount of confronting.
Oh?
Let me ask you this, if you're willing to share this on the air. How much did you pay in taxes last year?
Oh, last year? Quite a bit.
Okay, what's like a ballpark figure?
$7,000.
Okay, yeah. Usually around like $3,000 to $5,000.
Yeah, I know why mine did, because I did a COVID disbursement from my retirement, which was penalty free because it was a COVID disbursement, but it was not tax free.
So, given what I just stated about what I paid last year, how much do you think I paid this year?
I don't know. I'm gonna guess double that.
How about $49,000?
Holy what? Why?
Because get this. This is my new problem now. My company's making too much money.
I mean, that's a good problem to have, but
yes, but
some of that stuff supposed to be automatically set aside for payroll taxes and stuff like that?
Nate, there's no payroll if you're an owner.
Well, you're taking money as a...
That's not how it works.
That's why you owe.
You have to do a disbursement.
Yes.
And as long as your disbursements are not more than the total income, you're okay. But because you're owner, you are also taxed on the company's behalf too. So me and my partner, who also co-owns the company with me, we paid the most we've ever fucking paid for taxes in my life.
Yeah. That's a new car in taxes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably like a low end Tesla right there.
Yeah.
And we had to dip into our savings to pay it. And it kind of caught us blindsided.
Yeah.
Because we have been doing really well in the profits, but we now need to do a whole ass strategy on how to mitigate that for next year.
Right.
In addition to, let's see, that was Friday. That was 2 Fridays ago. And then the following Monday, we had a meeting with a business manager guy who was one of the guys who got the deal done so that my father could sell the company to us. Been instrumental. And so we had a serious business meeting with him, basically plotting out how we're going to expand.
Right.
And, and he was really, really smart and really wise at poking a lot of holes in, like, okay, you want to do this. Have you thought about this, this, and this? And I'm like, fuck, no. So, yeah, so all kinds of shit has happened. All kinds of shit has happened. Yeah.
Life's been fun, isn't it?
I don't seems like one thing after another this past month. That's for fucking sure. So
yeah, and we're in the last months of our union contract at my job, and we have a new corporate ownership. I don't know that I'm going to have appropriate medical by the end of this year, but that's a few months down the road.
That sucks.
Yeah, because right now we were fortunate enough that everything okay.
Oh, it just started raining like crazy, and
fun.
Wasn't sure if I was hearing a fan or if it just like.
Yeah, well, you showed me the picture of your office the other day. I was like, oh, no wonder I can hear the dogs. I didn't realize that you were literally in a window on that side of the office. So, but anyway, yeah, no, it like under my last, the last company, my medical, my wife and I could share. We were both with Kaiser, and she had the kids on her policy for a while because hers is free through the district. One of the perks. But she was paying through the nose for the kids, and it was like, well, if you can stand our copays going up $5, I can bring them over to mine, and we'd save about $275 a month. So we did that.
Yeah.
If the new company doesn't offer Kaiser as an option, kind of screwed. We got to find all new doctors, all new pediatricians, all new GPs.
Well, and now, I'm looking at it and it's like, okay, my company should have those things because the only thing we've had is like, Umbrella and Extreme, and it's like, well, shit, if Jessica loses her job, we need to find something for not just the company for me, but also for the fact that we want to start hiring this year. And it's like, well, like our business manager said, it's like, well, the thing is like you want to make it attractive for someone to make a career here,
right?
And
not as their summer high school job,
which is not really what we're looking for anyway. So I don't know. It's just a lot. It's a lot of changes.
Yeah, life is coming at all of us hard and fast, and the realities of not just sitting back earning a paycheck are those are pretty tough to swallow.
I mean, I don't sit back and just earn a paycheck.
I know,
but I go out and work for a living.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
mate.
Yes, so do I.
Apparently, I'm too damn good at it.
You heard that? You heard that, guys? Tim said he's too damn good at it.
But I mean, it is kind of like it's like a bullshit thing. right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I understand generally where my taxes are going. I don't think that that's like, that's such a dumb thing. So the more money you make,
Mm-hmm.
the more you were gonna get raped.
Mm-hmm. Basically.
What?
Mm-hmm.
That's not cool.
No, it's not.
I don't like that at all.
Nobody does. I mean, I don't know a single person that can honestly say, I like paying taxes, even when they know what those taxes are going to pay. Nobody likes paying.
Sure. Anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what's going on in my life.
Mm-hmm. Good shit.
Yep. All right, well, let's
Close out on video games.
Let's wrap it up on video games. Something happy. Yay. Video games. Video fucking games.
Like the only highlight that you have going on here is Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed coming.
I have Zelda.
In 3 days, you have the new Zelda?
Yeah, there's Zelda. There's Zelda stuff to talk about.
Oh, where's that? Scrolling up.
There's also...
Oh, yeah, there was the trailer, right? Trailer number 3?
Yeah, so before that, Dreams, the PlayStation 4 game creator that was actually pretty spectacular, is closing down in September. And the head of Media Molecule, the studio that made it, has left Sony.
Okay.
I think Dreams is super cool. I have it. Super cool. People are able to make amazing games with it. Played some really cool Sonic fan projects and stuff in it. But the thing is, Dreams took like 7 years to make, and when it came out, it wasn't indeed incredible in the game engine because it's like a game engine, the game.
Right, like Roblox kind of thing. Yeah.
I guess I've never actually played Roblox. I know what the old toy is, but I don't know what the video game thing is. I've seen some stuff, but
it's it's like a dev environment that also is a game. Yeah.
Yeah, the same thing for Dreams. But the thing about Dreams is like it took a really long time to develop. I agree that it's amazing. However, it only ever came out on PS4, which seemed strange. That should have been one of the first things to port to PC, in my opinion. There was never a PlayStation 5 port for it, which made absolutely no sense. And then in a world where Unreal Engine 5 exists for free,
right?
It's like, why would you waste all this time on Dreams where you could only make it on PlayStation when you can now invest time in YouTube and just download Unreal Engine 5 or Unity,
right,
and actually make a game,
right? Those are the big two left, right? Unity and Unreal.
Those are definitely the two big middleware, all-in-one solutions for video game making.
Crazy.
I think CryEngine might still be around.
I thought Frostbite was somewhat open as well.
Frostbite is not open.
It's not?
At all.
Okay.
It is only EA. As is Anvil, which is Ubisoft's engine. Actually, they have a couple engines. They have Anvil, which is the Assassin's Creed engine. They have Dunia, which is the Far Cry engine. I don't know why it's called that. It's been called that since Far Cry 2. And they have Snowdrop.
Yeah, I remember Snowdrop.
And Snowdrop's done a bunch. Snowdrop's done on several games. It does the Mario and Rabbids games. It does Division. It's doing
Didn't it do all
Avatar
the
video game?
Sam Fisher games?
No. So the fun fact about the Sam Fisher games is, Splinter Cell 1 was in Unreal Engine 1.
Okay.
Splinter Cell 2 was in Unreal Engine 2, and then Splinter Cell 3, 4 were in 2.5.
Okay.
And then they switched to a hacked version of Unreal Engine 2.5 because it wasn't supported on Xbox 360 and PS3 for 2 whole Splinter Cell games.
Wait, Unreal Engine wasn't supported by Xbox?
Unreal Engine 2.5 was not supported by 360 and PS3 because they were pushing Unreal Engine 3.
Oh, okay.
Because of Gears of War.
I thought all of the stupid Kinect games were in 2.5.
I don't know anything about the Kinect development, so I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
But yeah, if they were, it was a hacked version of the engine. Yep.
Okay.
At least that's my knowledge on it. Yeah, so let's start with Zelda. So April 13th, which was last week, which is hilarious, by the way. I wrote this in the Discord. So Sony announced a state of play for 2 p.m. that apparently had 20 minutes of Final Fantasy 16 gameplay revealed for the thing. And everybody was super excited about it. I was thinking about watching it. And then a day before, Nintendo's like, hey, 6 a.m., same day, final trailer for Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Sup, peace. And I can honestly tell you, at least in the circles that I travel in, Final Fantasy 16 was a fucking footnote.
Right.
At the bottom of everybody's fucking mind. Not just because it was Zelda, but because so there's some consternation in the Zelda community about Tears of the Kingdom. Number one, some people are like, okay, it's a 6-year long developed DLC. It's using the same basic map. It's fucking not going to be a full game. Some people were not particularly impressed with the gameplay demonstration, which I believe we already talked about on the show here. You know, and most people were saying, you know, I think we've had 2 story trailers now for the game, and they're like, okay, the story looks cool, but it doesn't really look like big. Like the final trailer for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is famous for having a trailer that is still talked about to this day because it's one of the best put together, well edited, well orchestrated 4-minute dazzle your fucking socks off trailers I've ever seen for a fucking video game, bar none, actually. Like it's like right up there with like some Halo 2 trailers and like Final Fantasy 7 remake trailer. Like it's fucking crazy. And so when they're like final trailer, you know, because the game's out in less than 20 days now.
Jeez, already.
I know, it's crazy. People had high hopes. And then fucking those hopes were obliterated because that trailer was fucking holy fucking tits phenomenal. Like not like amazing editing, amazing story beats, amazing cool shit that they showed that hasn't been shown before.
Right.
In the game. Like the game looks beyond epic. Like, you know, I watched numerous people who were like, after the last gameplay post, people were like, oh, I'm on the fence on this fucking Zelda thing. And I watched like fucking tons of these YouTube videos and reactors and commenters, you know, and people who like Zelda, but they're like, oh, I'm on the fence.
Sure.
And there are people like fucking crying, breaking down, just being like, oh my God, that was the greatest fucking thing I've ever fucking seen. You know, so I encourage people to check out the final trailer for Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
What do you think made this better? Was it like were the previous trailers made in like a pre-alpha engine or something?
No, since it is using the Breath of the Wild engine, it's like their engine was done.
Okay.
So anything that they're doing in it is just added, or you know, like a 0.5 or a 2.0 version of the engine or whatever.
Sure.
You know, because they're building on the actual literal bones of the previous game. I think the thing with Tears of the Kingdom is they've been more cagey about showing anything related to story. Like there was a bunch, like I think the original reveal trailer was like them in a cave, and there's like a weird green hand and like a mummy thing, and
Okay.
they were like, "Oh, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel now in development," or whatever the fuck. It's like just super like, okay, it's cool, but like,
Right. We're doing a
does it
thing.
tell me
We're not gonna.
anything?
Yeah.
And then the next couple of trailers are like, okay, Link skydiving. Okay, we've seen that before in other Zelda games. Like, okay, there's Sky Islands, flying around in them, doing Link
Right.
things. Okay,
Oh, look,
you
somewhat
know.
different biomes.
And then a story trailer we got, I think, at the beginning of the year, which had a little bit of voice acting, and it was like kind of dark. But it had like a weird pacing to it. It was meant to be like menacing and like, oh my god, it's the end of the world or whatever the fuck. And it's just kind of like, well, it looks like the bad guy's got like a fucking buff, I guess. Sure, you know. And like things got a little bit more exciting with the gameplay reveal a couple weeks ago. But this one was fucking just nuts. Just absolutely nuts. Um, just a couple of points from it. Like it had shit like Link skydiving through a thing exploding with lasers everywhere, like some fucking Mission Impossible stunt. It had fucking three-headed Ghidorah dragons, ice fucking demons coming out of the mountains, a fucking Temple of the Doom minecart ride with laser swords. It had fucking, and officially confirmed now, it had fucking fully voiced Ganondorf being resurrected. Like it was fucking nuts. Like it was like a proper, like, like, like. I haven't felt that way about a trailer since like the Avengers Infinity War trailer,
Right.
where there was like dread, coolness, badassery, and then the fucking logo comes up and you're just like,
Ugh.
oh damn.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for that. Like it's so fucking cool. So yeah, it changed a ton of minds in the community. It got people super pumped. People who don't even like Zelda are talking about the trailer. Like it's a crazy trailer. Like it was the kind of trailer that I wish had played in front of the Super Mario Brothers movie in the theater. Like that's the kind of trailer it was. It's like, oh damn. you know. Yeah. Wanted to comment on something that one of the founders of the show, Self-Made Dame, pointed out here for the Xbox group. Apparently Redfall at launch is running at 30 frames a second, 60 frame per second patch coming later. He's pointing that out as like a lame point, that we're 3 years into a generation, Microsoft owns them. Why is it not 60 frames a second at launch?
Valid point.
I don't fucking know.
Right.
I don't fucking know.
Because again, this is the state of games, unfortunately, for everyone now. Ever since we got rid of cartridges, and
no, we didn't.
Well, no, like everything now is physically connected to the internet.
I was playing Breath of the Wild today. I popped in a fucking game card.
Okay. Did it not update or patch at some point in time?
Well, yeah.
Okay,
but,
that's the point. Like
there was still physical media involved.
Yes, but prior, in the older generation, you had to put out a good game. It had to be complete.
Yeah.
Or we were done. Now, because we can push it out, get it out there, and then patch it and fix it in post, you get a lot of the shenanigans. And I hate it. I hate everything about it. And this is the kind of stuff that, yeah, I agree with you, Dame. It's like they should not. Microsoft has no business pushing a game out that is at 30 frames per second on a next gen console. Bullshit.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, going to an old debate that's been debated on the internet already. Like, I'm pretty sure fucking Starfield, when it launches on console, is going to be 30 frames a second.
Who's Starfield made by?
Well, true. Bethesda held together with glue and duct tape.
Right. Not Microsoft first party developer. Well, I guess it is. Yeah, now. Bethesda is now. But yeah, like
Same thing goes for Redfall.
Yeah.
And like the other thing too, like, so it's developed by Arcane
Mm-hmm.
Texas, which I believe is the studio who did the latest Prey. And the thing about Arcane, I'm not a huge Arcane fan. I have not finished one of their games, so I cannot say that I enjoy the way they make games. They have their fan base. You know, Prey didn't run well.
No.
Until Microsoft bought them and added a after the fact game boost for that fucking game. You know, I would point out, you know, okay, Final Fantasy 16 is PlayStation 5 exclusive. It's running at 30 frames a second.
Again, has no business, but yes.
It doesn't have any business, no, but that's what it's running at. I posted a thing where I was listening to a Colin's Last Stand, who had the guest of Moore's Law is Dead. And he was saying...
It's early. It's not midnight.
I changed it because I needed to try to sleep earlier.
Thwarted by your own technology.
Every time.
But yeah, compelling testimony that over 75% of gamers don't give a crap about frame rate. And for the most part, you're probably right, because I still got a first-gen Xbox over here.
Sure.
First-gen Xbox One. I do have a first-gen Xbox somewhere back here in this pile. But
I do too. I actually found mine recently.
But yeah, it's like most, if not all, games on that system run at 30 frames per second. The one I play most on PC, I'll still pop back on the Xbox and play Destiny on the console just to stay out of the matchmaking pools. And it's like, it's a little jarring going from 120 or free frames, 200 plus, down to 30. But it doesn't break the game for me. Like it's not as bad as what you would think. Do you miss it? Do you notice it? Well,
yeah.
Do you notice it if you've never seen 60? No. Like if you've never seen that game at 60, it's not, you don't care. If you've seen it at 60 and then suddenly you're back to 30.
I've never seen a live 120. I mean, I guess I've had a game running at that, but I haven't been able to see it because of my display.
Right.
I ran Doom and Ray Tracing Eternal on my gaming PC at like 120 just because I wanted to see what it looked like. And it's like, okay, I can't perceive the 120 because the fucking my display is.
It's frame locked at 60. Yeah, and again, that's fine. It's a smoothness that you don't get screen tearing. You don't get those little artifacting when you can get it up that high on frame rates, even though your display only shows 60.
So. Well, and here's the thing. Speaking as, I guess, an old gamer, it's like we played N64 games that ran at like 15 frames a second.
15 to 20.
We played SNES and Genesis games that ran at 10. Like, yes, faster frame rates are better and do produce a smoother game. But if the game's designed for it to run at 30 and it delivers a good experience, like let's take it this way, like jumping ahead of myself a little bit here. So I'm replaying The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild right now on Switch. I know for a fact the game is 30 frames a second. I have a hard time distinguishing that it's 30 frames a second, unlike some games. Some games you could absolutely tell, and it's like, man, I can't tell whether this game just is really buttery smooth at 30. Or part of my brain is like, or is it secretly running at 60 sometimes?
Right.
Like I can't. It's hard for me to tell on Breath of the Wild.
And I think it's one of those, again, you see some games and they're pushing their engine to get to 30, so you can see it. Whereas something like the Breath of the Wild's engine can probably do 60.
I
so
mean,
it runs great at 30.
It probably can.
Right.
Well, I was thinking about this the other day too. I guess this is as good a place as any to talk about this. I was flying around Breath of the Wild, and I'm looking at all the scenery, and I'm about maybe 10, 15 hours into my replay. I don't think that's what my game clock reads, but that's kind of what it feels like. Um, and I replayed the game, or I played the game when it came out in 2017. I played it again a year later in hard mode, and here I am in 2023 playing it again. And it's not had any patches for like over 5 years or anything like that. And technically, this game was originally developed for the Wii U, which it did launch on too, simultaneously along with the Switch. The Wii U has a total of 2 gigs of RAM.
Right. Yeah. Your cell phone has 4 times that.
Yeah. Yes, it does. You know, and I'm looking at this game, and the thing that I'm still blown away by Breath of the Wild is how many systems are like running on top of each other. It's kind of remarkable going back to it, you know, after playing a game like Cyberpunk. Systems on top of systems, you know, and I can look at Breath of the Wild and like, yeah, it's, you know, it doesn't look like fucking Cyberpunk. It doesn't look like The Witcher 3, you know, but I can see weather interacting with trees. I can see blades of grass moving around. I can see the physics of trees being cut, characters, and all kinds of stuff that, you know, wasn't there in 1997 for Ocarina of Time.
Sure.
On the N64. And it's remarkable, not just because of that, but like even going from, you know, I recently replayed and beat Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD, which is an HDI version of a 2011 Wii game. And it's a pretty good looking game still. You know, it has a good art style that really works for the technology that they had at the time, you know. And going from that to Breath of the Wild, and like Breath of the Wild is still, having played some new open world games, is still a pretty fucking quantum leap of technological prowess that's running with 2 gigs. Because my understanding is
on
the
2 gigs on an outdated mobile processor.
Well, the Switch has 4 gigs, but my understanding is that because it was basically a port of the Wii U version, it never used those other 2. We'll see that in Tears of the Kingdom, I'm sure. But it's like, you know, I was thinking of like some other open world games that I've played since Breath of the Wild, and I was like, Breath of the Wild still runs better than those games and is doing more than those games. And I'm just like, it's crazy, because it comes right back down to kind of skipping over a thing here just so that we're segueing. It comes right back down to Monolith Soft, the makers of the Xenoblade games, being a co-developer on Breath of the Wild and many other Nintendo games that I've said numerous times on the show. And it's like, whatever fucking technical wizards they got in that studio.
They know the ins and outs of the hardware that they're coding directly for it.
They clearly have some magic fucking sauce.
Right.
The likes I can only compare to, you know, think about it this way. Grand Theft Auto 5 is an extremely advanced open world game that originally launched on a 360 and PS3, 512 megabytes of RAM. And yeah, it's been updated all the way to 16 gigs and PC and ray tracing and all kinds of crazy shit now. But it's like, if you look at that game, it still looks like a really impressive open world. So many things are happening on screen, and so many things are like moving in and out of it seamlessly, you know. And it's just and it's because they're so adept at the tech of an open world. And clearly, Monolith Soft co-developing with Zelda, and like I've said before, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 doesn't look like a Switch game. It looks like a fucking modern fucking game. You know, it's just crazy. But to speak of them, as if, like, I literally had like about 5 hours of breakdown one night. It was actually a couple nights ago. It was like Wednesday, Thursday, this shit was announced. So number one, I'm a huge Xenoblade Chronicles fan. I didn't even know that this trailer and this date dropped, because they did it at 6 o'clock on a fucking weekday evening, like a bunch of savages. I was scrolling something else at like 7 o'clock at night on YouTube, and I saw a bunch of people that I follow for Xenoblade. They're like reacting to the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 DLC, and like, you know, clip arts of people crying and stuff. And I was like,
the what?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
The what?
The what?
Now? And I went to Reddit and I was like, oh shit, they dropped a fucking trailer. And then I saw it and I was like, oh, that release date, that's next Tuesday.
That's yeah, that's in 3 days.
I was like, no, they wouldn't. They wouldn't do this to me.
They did.
And so yeah, there's a Xenoblade Chronicles 3 expansion pass DLC. This is the big expansion we've been waiting for since it was announced last summer when the game came out, you know, a whole 3 months early. And I might add, they are still co-developers on Tears of the Kingdom. And so it's like, hold up, Monolith Soft. Tears of the Kingdom comes out May 12th, and you guys are going to have the balls to drop your new 100-hour expansion weeks before Tears of the Kingdom? You absolute fucking mad lads. So yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 DLC. Fuck, I'm flubbing. I gotta scroll to the thing. Future, what's it called? Future Redeemed.
Right.
Is the fucking title. They dropped a crazy trailer. I don't think it's as good as the Zelda trailer. Sorry. But they did drop a crazy trailer, and there's a bunch of people from all the fucking Xenoblade games in it, and it's just like, what the fuck is happening? And so, like I said, I had like a 5-hour breakdown. I went down, I went to my wife, and I was just like, I don't know what to do, honey. And she's like, what? What's wrong? And I was like, the thing. And I slid my phone over, and she's like, is this the DLC? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, and you're replaying Breath of the Wild every chance you get right now because you want to be ready for Tears of the Kingdom. And I was like, yeah, it fucks with my whole schedule, honey. And she's like, well, you're either gonna have to somehow go dark and then play Tears of the Kingdom and not be on Reddit or Twitter and YouTube for like a month, or you're gonna have to fucking somehow cram it in. And I'm just like, but I want to experience it in my own base. I don't want to have to fucking. So yeah, I had a weird, you know, first world problem issue of,
how will I run my own corporation with all of these video games coming out?
Yeah, and then I got this life thing happening. God, just getting in the way. Fucking stupid. Fucking stupid, man. I basically decided that I'm gonna have to play it. I'm gonna have to play it. I had a private DM with our very own fork cheerleader, Sean Mason. And I was just like, man, the audacity of these people. And he's just like, I'm so fucking excited. It's fucking, yeah, man, this year, man, it's really been Nintendo's year. Like, I can't think like fucking Nintendo just swiping thunder from anybody and everybody. Fucking barely mention shit. Nintendo's just over there chugging at the beat of their own drum. Oh yeah, you got this cool thing? Oh, we got you.
Right.
Oh, you got fucking new Zelda? Yeah, sure. Oh, we got a Mario movie that's dominating. Fucking what's up, bitches? You know? It's like, we don't need your fucking ray tracing fucking 16 gigabyte hardware.
What's that Marvel movie? We've got Mario.
Fuck you, Steam Deck. We're Nintendo. It's fucking insane. They're
even a movie that isn't about Nintendo, you know, is doing well with the Tetris movie.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. I don't know what to.
Yeah. All right, let's drop the last bit of bad news, and then we can get the F on out of here.
Yep, absolutely.
Longtime Halo developer Frank O'Connor's departure confirmed by Microsoft.
As is Joseph Staten's.
Yes.
Joseph Staten's is weirder, though, because he's already landed somewhere else.
Right. Netflix?
He is now head of creative for Netflix multi-platform games.
That is weird, because I don't even know what the hell is going on with that platform, and I don't think Netflix does even.
Well, so what's weird, so again, going back to Nintendo also had like an indie world, like 15-minute thing showing a bunch of new indie games.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is a sequel to a game that myself and Self-Made Dame have vehemently stated is amazing. It's called Oxenfree. It's called Oxenfree 2.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
It got a new release date because it was supposed to come out last summer and then it didn't. It's coming out in July, but when I saw the trailer for it, it's done by a team called Night School, and it said Night School, a Netflix game studio.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, when the fuck did Netflix acquire them? What the fuck?
Very quietly in the middle of the night.
I don't fucking... Netflix is wild, man. Like, they're so unpredictable.
Right.
And I think
the only problem with Netflix is they don't even know what they are yet. Right? Are they going to be a Stadia? Are they going to be a Luna? Are they going to be a... Right?
That's one bit of technology thing I meant to mention. Netflix is stopping their DVD service.
Oh, yeah.
After over a decade, September 21st.
Womp womp.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, really cool get that they're getting Joseph Staten, man who wrote the fucking Halo series.
Mm-hmm.
Helped Halo Infinite as much as he could until whatever the fuck happened over there and everybody's fucking leaving. Which sucks because I know we said, or at least I said optimistically, nothing's confirmed yet until the fucking man himself says it. Well, now the man himself has said it. But Frank O'Connor is also another one. So he's not an original guy. He actually, strangely, used to be the
content manager.
Editor-in-Chief. No, he used to be the editor-in-chief at the official Xbox magazine.
Oh, okay.
He joined in Halo 2 or 3, and he quickly rose the ranks from community manager to he's been managing the cross-media-ness of Halo for over a decade. So books, podcasts, movies, live audio things, all of the things he's been involved in. And he's had a really good head on his shoulders for what it is to be a fan and what it is for Halo to be Halo. So the fact that he's says here he has over 20 years with the Halo series, which is crazy that Halo's that old, but so it goes.
Right.
And that he's departing. Not just 343, but Microsoft as well. So I don't know what's happening with Halo.
I hope it's because he has an opportunity, or he's just like, I'm kind of done with the grind.
Could be.
Right.
Could be.
And just hope it's not something indicative of, what seems to be the writing on the wall with Halo. Like it's still got a diehard competitive and PvP community, but that's about it.
And that's cool, and that has always kept Halo alive. Mm-hmm. But it's not. And maybe I'm speaking out of turn for the community here, but it's not why everyone in the community loves Halo.
No, it's not why I do.
Why people come back to Halo and play Halo socially and all that sort of stuff. But I love Halo because of the rich campaigns, the rich science fiction world, the deep lore, the well thought out stories. Not counting 5.
It's the same thing with me. Like there was a lot of I followed a lot of the Clancy games, back in the day because of their campaign modes, and once they started getting away from that and it's just becoming these PvP games, it was just like, okay, cool. I'm not going to spend $60 for a 3-hour campaign.
You know, it's funny you say that because specifically when you're talking about this Rainbow Six Siege, which was supposed to have a pretty extensive campaign and then it didn't.
Yeah.
It has 6 missions.
Right.
And Angela Bassett for some reason. But you know, I played some Rainbow Six Siege tonight, but it's also one of the best shooters.
Sure.
There is.
Sure.
Like it's still to this day so unique. And the fact that it's lasted, God, what is it, 8 years old now? It's fucking old as shit.
And that's like the last of them. Because like you look at Call of Duty. Call of Duty used to have an amazing little campaign that went along with it. And they were just like, okay, zombies and PvP. And here's 3 missions that, you know, you can play. It's
yeah, I mean,
perfect.
I don't know. I can't speak too much on Call of Duty. I know they had a campaign with Modern Warfare 2, but you're right. They have shipped it where it's just some multiplayer.
Yeah.
Shit.
Or the like the most minimal campaign possible.
Yeah.
So.
But, you know, it's obviously not what makes the money, though.
Right. And that's like, unfortunately,
that's
that kind of feels like what's happening with Halo is like, well, we know our PvP folks, as long as we can get them Forge, which they finally got them Forge, we can kind of just,
I guess.
Right. That's almost what it feels like. And it's sad if that's the case.
I mean, I hope to Christ that all of the rumors about there still being a big, you know, the other half of the campaign is still coming to Infinite. I really hope so.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the fact that I have a Halo wedding ring on me.
Right.
And I've got Halo Legos behind me and Master Chief's helmets over there and all this shit. You know, maybe that's just the fan of me wanting to be optimistic.
Yeah.
You know, because obviously there's still people at 343. You know, the game's still running. There's servers. There's still content being made. But man, there has been a shakeup in that specific studio of Microsoft of colossal proportions.
Yep.
You know, and it sucks to see the good old guard leaving, you know, and with some uncertainty as to, okay, who's
taking over
Halo now? Because fucking Bonnie Ross, who'd been running the show since Halo 4, you know, she left last summer. And yeah, she made a lot of controversial decisions, you know, but she did run it, you know, and now it's like, what's happening?
Yeah.
But can we get like a plan? Like maybe like a, hey, here's where we're headed. You know, because they still got fucking the season 2 of this TV show coming. Like, very frustrating time to be a Halo fan. That is for sure. But at the same time, you know, it's also not like fans haven't been calling for this. It's like, okay,
right.
You know, some people fucking absolutely hate 4. Some people mad about 5. Some people upset with Infinite. Some people love all 3. You know,
when you start letting the community dictate your game and not the developers, that's almost a death knell every time.
Sometimes is what I would say to that. I wouldn't say every time. But yeah. I think the thing that's most complicated about video games is the being a fan, but you are also that person who's making the things.
Right.
You're the customer too. You know, and if you know customers are ballyhooing about one thing or another, you know, and it's not being given to them, you have to wonder if people are listening or not. You know, I don't know. I do not know the answer. But what I do know is fucking next 30 days, Nintendo's fucking crushing it.
Yeah. Nintendo's got everyone by the balls right now.
I don't even fucking. Oh, and I totally fucking forgot. The thing that got delayed because of the Ukraine war, Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot-Camp, HD 3D remake. It came out. Do you know how I know this?
How?
Well, because I had it pre-ordered for the last like 2 fucking years, and it just appeared on my Switch. I went, "Is it out?" And I clicked it and booted it up and played the match, and I was like, "Oh,
Okay.
Look, fucking ridiculous."
No warning, no fanfare.
Nintendo's just like, yeah, here's Metroid Prime. Remade from the ground up. What's up? It's out today. DLC? Next week, baby.
Jeez.
Zelda? This month. Fuck it. Like, what? I don't even understand.
That's a good thing it's on the Switch. You can take it with you.
Right? Yeah, except I'll be doing the driving, so that doesn't help. All right. This is the show. We made it. We fumbled our way in the darkness.
Hey, if you're gonna stagger on something, stagger on 151.
Fair enough. Hopefully my audio's better.
Yes.
In this cast, because I know it was not great.
It was fine. It was fine.
Not to my ears.
I know.
Heard so much staticky popping garbage. Upsetting. Alrighty. This is me.
And me.
Signing off.
Signing out.
Get forked.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to a Dynamicworks production podcast. You can find our podcast at www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Feel free to email us at dynamicworks@mac.com.
Armado, the voice of Guybrush Threepwood, and you're listening to a Dynamicworks production podcast.
The Citadel, Arrival, is the first installment in a series of epic science fiction short stories reminiscent of the Pulp Fiction style. It's a fast-paced story that will take you through twists and turns that you will not expect, until they are thrust upon you with all the force, excitement, and chaos of a plasma cannon blast. The story follows Katarl, a nobody cog in the working wheels of a futuristic society run completely by Megacorp, a corporation that carefully runs and manages the lives of the people living under its sphere of power. On one of Katarl's few and far between days off from work, an outing he had hoped would be fun and relaxing turns into an explosive adventure that drags him kicking and screaming into situations and challenges that will make him question every aspect of his life. Watch this colorful tapestry unfurl as Katarl and his newfound allies find their way through this classic, yet oddly surprising tale of good and evil, where nothing is quite what it appears to be. That's The Citadel, Arrival, by author Tim K. Trotter, available right now on Amazon Kindle Store and iTunes iBookstore for only $2.99. These need to not go.
I don't have you overdriven on my side. You sound fine on my end.
Well, I don't trust it since I haven't changed the settings on this.
I'm just saying. There is nothing obviously out of whack, but then again, last week, 2 weeks ago, there was nothing obviously out of whack. Otherwise, I would have called you on it.
Yeah.
So.
It was not good in post.
Well, now I will at least have a decent track for you if it does get messed up in post. Yeah, for whatever reason, I had your channel cranked all the way up. I blame my children. They like to come in and slide the knobs and...
Testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Testing.
Testes. 1, 2. 1, 2. Testes. 1, 2.
Oh my god, I'm so excited about a thing.
You're excited about a thing.
I'm just
I'm
actually going to stop the recording and actually listen to it.
Ow. Bang.
Okay, that sounds way better.
Okay.
Okay, new recordings started. This is my thing. Go.
This thing? Ah, look, starting recording. Tim is recording the call.
How about that?
Tim is frozen. Tim is not frozen.
Okay.
Yeah, Skype doing Skypey things. Bang. Thump.
Sorry.
It's all good.
You seem short today.
Short as in physically height-wise, or short as in tenor?
Yes.
Oh, no. Yeah, yes, no. Yep.
Okay.
Nope.
Yep, nope, okay. Goes.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on around the house, and not much of it actually has to do with me. So,
Bad stuff?
No, but not great stuff either.
Okay.
Kind of on the same lines with what's going on in your house.
Really?
Yeah, not to that same effect, but those kind of implications, kind of things.
Okay. Well, I get to talk about mine this week.
And I get to talk about mine. It's not a... I don't ask for permission. She doesn't listen, so...
Well, I asked this week, and she was like, fuck them.
Oh, are we naming names?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I know you dance around that one. Yeah, no, I won't be doing that for fear of...
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I have my libation.
I don't. I mean, I have fluid here, but it's not spiked. I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, I have one of these. If you can
Interesting.
decipher the backwardsness.
Lynch? No, it's the correct way.
Oh,
on my screen.
okay. Cool.
For once.
Weird.
Agreed. It's a Lynchberry?
Lynchburg
Lynch
lemonade.
Well, okay then.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do a thing.
Let's do the thing.
Okay. In 5, 4,
3, 2, 1.
1.
Cut in.
Cut in.
Fucker. Okay, let's do a cutout. 3, 2, 1.
1.
Cut out.
Out.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, I can't hear you still.
What?
I said I can hear you still.
Oh, you can.
Yes.
Sounded like you said can't.
No. And ready to come back in?
Yeah. I should have done this in an earlier segment.
Oh, funny. It's almost the right color shirt too.
Green?
The light, that almost yellowish green.
I mean,
It's almost. I know.
It is a chroma key
Okay.
green.
Yeah, so
Shirt.
good thing
It's
you're not
very
streaming
much-
on it. Yeah.
Like I was
Disembodied.
earlier today.
Disembodied head with the Starfleet logo on it.
You know what I noticed? So on OBS Mac, I feel like it's chroma key differentiation. Like, because I have a blue one,
Mm-hmm.
I had green, and it was correctly differentiating
Yes.
between the colors. Whereas Windows was like, nope, they're both blue to me.
Oh, see, I don't have that issue. I had for a while because I didn't have any sort of green screen. I was using an orange sheet behind me, and
Orange.
that got a little dicey with my brownish complexion. With certain lightings, if my lighting was too warm, I was basically a floating pair of glasses.
Skin than me.
Huh?
You are a lot darker skin.
Yes. All right. Ready to roll back in?
Yes.
And 3,
3,
2.
2.
Oh, don't do this to me. 1.
1.
Cut in.
Cut in.
Okay.